Inside at last.
Welcome, fellow Teffers, to Inside at Last, the one and only thief-dedicated podcast. And today I recognize that it rhymes for the first time, but that's just me. As always, I'm joined by my two marble floor tiles, Nex and Psychosis. Hey, guys.
Hiya.
Hey. How are you?
Very well. Very excited for this episode.
Yep.
I know. And why are you so excited? I will tell you guys, because we have a very special guest today, for the first time, female community member and contest-winning author, PUKEY BRUNSTER. Hi. Welcome.
Hi. Hey, how are you guys?
We're good.
Yep.
Never better.
How are you, Karen? It's so nice that you're here.
I'm great, actually. I'm really honored to be here. So thanks for asking me.
Yeah, the honor is on our side as well. Yes, you are, I think, a pretty well-known community member. But anyways, for persons that don't know you and be ashamed of that, whoever is that, please introduce yourself, who you are, maybe where you are living, what you're doing, and of course, the most important story, how did you get into Thief?
Okay, that's a lot of questions. I'll do
I
my
know,
best.
that's always the thing I do. Thank you.
I where I live in the United States. I live on the West Coast, the Pacific Coast, in Washington State. Have been very hard hit by coronavirus, unfortunately. But doing things like this is great for that particular reason. I'm in my 40s. That's all I will say. And I live with my husband, and I have a roommate. Kids are a little older now because I was a very young mom, and just live here with my family. And I work in home mortgages. That's what I do professionally, which is so far afield from the Thief community, of course. But no, I have a really good life. I live in a beautiful area, and I think I covered the personal stuff. Did you say how I got into Thief?
Yes, I think that is, one of the most important things someone can tell us at the beginning. So please let us know your story. I hope it's good.
It's probably pretty mainstream, but actually, it was 1999, and I was one of those mindsets of computer gamers. Ew, they all live in mom's basement, and that kind of stereotype. But I had my father-in-law, and he's adorable, and he's this huge gamer, right? Old dude in his 60s, and he was always playing games, and he was always trying to get me interested. Like I think the first one he ever gave me to play was Unreal Tournament, which actually was kind of fun in some ways. But, running around shooting people and spawning and all that stuff, it just didn't really capture me. But then one day he says, hey, listen, I got this game and I don't really like it, but I think you're going to like this game. And that wasn't a great way to preface, me liking it either. But he said, just give it a try. And so I looked at he said, it's called Thief. And the first image I had in my mind was, it's going to be like, I pictured this, guy dressed in, like some kind of modern day black, Secret Service kind of uniform running through modern buildings. That's what I actually had in my mind. But I did give it a try. I said I would. And I went through the training, which, the Keeper's training thing was kind of interesting. And I started to realize, this is kind of a medieval game, which is really more along my lines because I read a lot of fantasy fiction and I like that genre. But literally probably within a few seconds of dropping into Bafford's Manor, I was hooked, like immediately. There was something so immersive and different about what I was experiencing. So it was really the first game I ever really loved, and is still the game I love the most by far. And the rest is history. I kept playing. I played the Dark Project, over and over. Then I found Thief Gold, and I was so excited to have a few new missions. Thief 2 came out, and I played all of these things so many times over. And then someone suggested to me that, have you ever heard of fan missions? And I was like, what? I didn't really hear fan missions before. But I wound up finding the Circle of Stone and Shadow. I don't know if any of you guys remember that website.
Of course.
And here was like 50, I don't know, 100, just a ton of these fan-made games for Thief. And at first I was really skeptical, thinking they're probably going to be, kind of crappy. But the first one I ever played was Benny's Dead.
Classic.
Man. And I mean, the second I heard those weird little sewer AI swearing and stuff like that, I knew that this was the community for me. So really, I've just played close to since the beginning. It actually opened me up to other games, and the rest is history. Finally, I started making them myself, and here we are.
That was
Thank
actually a
God for
good
that.
story. Because I like the fact, as you said, like you have the cliche in your head, like with the nerdy gamer who's sitting in the basement. But then your father, in most times, the
Right?
least person that will show his child anything like that, and he does that. So great job, and thanks to your dad that he introduced you to the game. So we got some great missions as well from you. So that's cool. Today we want to talk about your beloved Morbid Curiosity. What was the kick when you decided to create missions? When was that? Do you remember that? And how did that start out?
It's kind of a fuzzy memory, but it probably was just because I started playing so many fan missions, and I played like the crap out of them. I played everything that I could get my hands on. And, it came to a point where it's like, these stories and what they're doing, I wonder if I could do that. I'm not a very technical person. So I thought, yeah, you probably have to be like a computer programmer to get this, but, the idea just kind of kept gnawing at me. And so I downloaded Comag's tutorial, and I actually printed it out on paper and started going through it. And I was elated because I made a room with a working torch and a chair and a table in it. Like I was, oh my God, I can totally do this, and
Awesome.
And so little by little, I just kind of kept trying to build, and that's how I started.
I came that far as well, and then I stopped. So good that you went on with it.
Yeah, I actually before Morbid Curiosity, because I'm not shy. I'm kind of an extroverted introvert. I can hang out with you people and jam and stuff like that, but I really have a shy core. And I was afraid of ever asking for help on the Editors Guild. It just seemed like, here were all my heroes and these really smart people. And I felt like a shrinking violet. So I wouldn't ask questions. I had 4 broken missions before I finally got to Morbid Curiosity, the completed version. I really built the crap out of them, but I built them badly. Unfortunately, and here's just to say this to all new authors out there, in case you're shy, please use the Editors Guild. They will save you so much stress down the road.
Yeah, I think that is a good point to say. Like, whenever you read about online game communities, even if the Thief community is not that big, it's always referred to as one of the oldest, first of all, and still going on communities, and one of the nicest. That's what I read from so many people. So yeah, please do so. If you are ambitious enough to create something like that, it's always a great thing to have new authors. So that was a good advice, Karen. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
PUKEY, sorry.
All right.
So were the 4 missions that you had to scrap, were they earlier versions of Morbid Curiosity, or were they just completely different?
Well, okay, they're pretty completely different.
Okay.
Although the idea literally it's kind of carried through all 4 maps, but believe me, they looked so different. And I really, really wish I would have saved all of those broken. And I was saving game files instead of cow files back then too. I didn't know any better.
Oh no.
I know, right? But I wish I would have saved them just so I could look at the progression, because by the time I actually built Morbid Curiosity, it's a fairly good map for a first attempt. But you should have seen the ones that broke, man. There was some pretty ugly stuff.
So if I understand correctly, the Morbid Curiosity is your first mission.
That's right. Yeah.
First, like, released one, yeah.
That's just amazing.
It's impressive, right? Even if if there was some start with the other stuff, I think. Anyways, you know, there are other first missions released that that are not close, even close to. Yeah. Yeah. You wanted to say something? Sorry, Psychos.
Well, I was just gonna back you up. Like, the first mission people usually release is like a lot, very rough. How long did it take? Well, you went through 4 like different missions, but how long did Morbid Curiosity itself take?
So the completed map that you guys have played, that was about 1.5 years.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds not too much, right? If I look at others,
I can
I mean,
only imagine that the 1.5 years was filled with more than just an hour a day.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually I've read other authors. How much time do you spend on Andromeda? You know, and an hour here or 2 there. I mean, guys, I sometimes would pound through an entire weekend doing practically nothing but Andromedaing, between working full time. You know, because it was kind of my escape. But if you actually look at the whole progression, in truth, with the broken maps and everything, it took me 5 years to get there.
oh, that sounds a bit more. But you know, it was worth it. And of course, the other mission doesn't exist today. We will talk about that maybe one other time. But if we look at your author's career, you know, you've come pretty far very fast. You know, you are a contest winner already, and I think it was earned. And I think this is we had a pre-talk before, like with quantity and quality. And I think if you do less but quality missions, I think it's worth more, you know, at the end, because those things were stuck to people's head. You know, it's like, as we said, I played 800 missions, but I can name like 5, and two of them is yours. So I'm maybe a bit more, but yeah, that's a cool thing. So Morbid Curiosity, your first entry. Can we ask who was helping you mostly with that? Was there someone really close to you that was involved really much you have to give credit for?
No, and that's why I mentioned that thing about the Editors Guild, because I was so shy about asking for help that I pretty much waited until like the month, maybe 2 months before I was ready for beta to even ask questions that I couldn't figure out for the life of me. Like, I really went solo, and I really wish I hadn't in hindsight, because I could have done things so much more just cleaner, you know, and easier if I had. But it was just me, yeah.
But actually, I can imagine that you felt a bit proud, like after that, which you could.
Yeah. I felt like I overcame that original fear that I wasn't, you know, smart enough as like a programmer, you know, up here, that I could figure things out. I did a lot of the scripting by just reading what I could get my hands on. In truth, though, I mean, I really have all of the community to thank for that, because there was so much information available to me by 2016, you know, versus people who built in 2002 or something, who had to figure it out themselves, you know.
But maybe this results, you know, that I think in my imagination, that is the most difficult part. It's not the, you know, the technical creation, but first you need an idea, you know, you need something. It doesn't always have to be unique, but you need some idea of the map, of the level, of the design. And you even had some really unique ideas. So I think that, in my imagination, is the hardest part, you know, the art behind it. And then you need, you know, there are ways to get it done in the techniques. But first you need that impulse.
That's true. Although I don't know if this is a unique way of building, but I had a very, you know, general idea of a story. I just kind of was going for a certain feel, and I knew that there was going to be literally steal this MacGuffin, and I wanted this crazy museum in it. That's pretty much how I started out. And the thing about it when I build is the story starts to to kind of come alive on its own. It takes on a life, and then you get all these crazy ideas while you're building, and that's how I did it basically.
Would have been one of my questions. But we will come to that later in deeper thoughts. I was thinking that, okay, this museum or the gallery, that must have been one of the premise ideas before she started building it. And yeah, you just answered that. But let's come to the premise of the mission. Karen, can you still remember what you did there? And can you please tell us what is the story behind in the in the Thief universe? What is the mission about? And yeah,
just like give you a summary of what it's about.
Like basically like the briefing. You know.
Yeah, the briefing. What is going on? What's it about? You know, where do we start? Do we play as Garrett or Carrot in that? that would be an amazing female character. Like, if someone should create that, like the female Garrett, it's Carrot, and it's voiced by you.
I actually have one of those in my hopper of ideas I'd love to do in the future. Make a kind of a female Carrot. I don't think that's been done very well yet.
Yeah, cool. No, but please explain what is the mission about.
All right. So yeah, you play as Garrett. And you're dropped into a foreign town to meet a contact. You know, I come up with any reason. He's just tired of the city or whatever. You're following this priest who is said to have stolen this relic from another Hammerite church. And you've got to track him down. And you happen to have a contact in this town whose name is Peyton. So you basically have to go to your room, what she has for you, find her instructions so she can help you navigate the town a little bit. And through this adventure, finding out about the priest and so forth, it does eventually lead you to this very strange museum that's kind of like a Disneyland, evil Disneyland. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, let's be honest, the story is pretty basic.
It is in its idea, yeah.
But I think the premise is not always the thing. Like, there are so many missions, right? Psychosis, like, hey, the rent is due, and
those are the best.
Yeah,
it's true.
And then they turn out to be like that's what I actually love. Like, or what I hope for. When the premise is pretty simple, then there's always the hope, like, okay, there has to be a twist or something like that. I want that, because then the curiosity is way bigger. And yeah, I think you did a great job. As always, please play the mission before you listen to us, so we will spoil a lot. And yeah, that's the premise. And I think, and that is my impression, and I wanted to tell that the way you the mission already tells you, like, okay, at least this will be a really good looking one, and even more. Like, you start in that, is it like a dock area, a little one, right?
It seems like a dock area, but it's like
an underground, yeah, like docking station or something.
Yeah, the canal entrance to the city.
And you're just there, and the first thing you see is, like, all the wheels and the ropes everywhere, and the crates are not stacked like just on top of each other. They're a bit different positions, and you get the first thing I thought, like, yeah, this will be very detailed, I guess. And I was right. We will come to that later. But this is like, the first impression is a good one, a really good one, and it doesn't stop there. So,
oh, thank you.
Very immense start. Even if I replayed it, I replayed it in December, and then I now replayed it to have a fresh mind. And it was the same. Like, yeah, I remember that. And it's still great, and yeah, from there on you go on. First, what I hated, but it was just a short time, like, you have to get your stash again.
Yeah.
But that's mostly German people do that. German authors do that all the time. I don't know why, but we Germans are like that. But I don't like it. But of course, it's just a short time. It was okay. Then you have your stash. And but if that's the first, like, oh no, it's one of those ones. But
yes,
luckily,
I think it scared some people away, actually. And in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have done it that way.
No. I think I
don't think
said,
it
it's just
overstays its welcome. I think it's
Yeah.
like the right amount of time, and it's also not as punishing as normal because I think most of the townspeople don't even care like about you, so you
Yeah,
can
they're
just walk among
neutral.
them, and the whole inn is also like friendly. So it's only like 2 guards that you kind of have to like maneuver around, and then you
Yeah.
get to the inn basically. I think.
Yeah,
And a couple of spiders if
Oh
you
yeah,
don't
and then the
Spiders.
sewer tunnel. Yeah. Mhm.
don't do
but on a
tricky
harder
stuff.
difficulty, I guess.
I think that what I would have done differently, honestly, isn't necessarily in the building, but I should have made a more detailed map to give people more of a direction where to head.
No, because that is where I wanted to go now.
I actually agree, but yeah.
Yes. In the last episode with Randy Teffer, I said that too much detailed map is not always. Actually, I didn't use the map of Morbid Curiosity actually, because I don't remember how it looks.
It's not hard to find your way around the city
Because it's
thankfully.
dissected. That's a
Yeah.
really good decision. So that would be one of my questions. Was that the idea from the beginning, like to dissect the areas? Because because my impression is that all the little areas can be confusing at times, but since you are in one area that is locked until you open it, you get familiar with it, and then you come to the next part, and then you get familiar with that, and so on. So if you running around a bit, you're losing your orientation, you just need to go back to a point where I know this area, so I can go on with a new area now. Was that your idea of it?
It was, and that's I think a challenge for a lot of authors. Like, open gaming experience is great, but you have two ends of the spectrum. Like sometimes completely open is just as confusing as closing it off a little bit, and it's kind of a cheat in a way because I wanted to control how the story was being told a little bit. I didn't want people to start running to the very ends of the map and already be at the Hammerite Chapel before they'd had a chance to, read a little more from Peyton. You kind of just kind of baby feed people little bits of information instead of just stacking on a giant readable. And that's kind of what I was thinking was this way I can kind of tell the story a little bit more clearly. And as you make a few moves and once you get your, your lock picks, you have to get your lock picks, you have to get your blackjack in the inn, you get the rope arrow in the same area, and then you get your sword. Once you have those things, the whole area is open for you. I did hear some commentary that part was a bit on rails, and to be fair, they're right about that. But again, it's kind of a trade-off. I kind of wanted, it was supposed to be an immersive, story-driven, partly mission, and that was the best way I could think to do it.
But I would disagree with those people that said that, because I think that, and that is one of the notes I made to myself, that the streamlining actually works in a good way. You feel okay, it's streamlined, but you always, you are focused as a player. You know what's coming next. Of course, later there are some side quests and possible distractions, but at the beginning, the streamlining is good because you always have a little a little bit of freedom, especially at the start. Of course, I could go straight to where I should go, but of course, there's that little, what is it, a shipment, whatever, office, and you can go there.
Yeah.
So there is some exploration, and of course, then you, of course, it doesn't take you long to get to the hotel after that really unnecessary gate riddle in the sewers. That was really, that was really gamey. And when I replayed it yesterday, I was like, I came down the sewers, I saw the broken ladder, and then was like, I know what comes now. Like,
Yeah. I had this like overwhelming, when you're building a mission, you just can't see from the outside, And I actually, to refresh myself, because it's been so long since I've been in there, Tanner was so kind as to kind of run through it with me, and I wanted to kind of see it through someone else's eyes and just kind of refamiliarize myself with it. And that whole switch puzzle, I just felt like every area I built had to have some kind of challenge in it. I wasn't thinking this is making the gameplay and the pace really slowing it down. I was thinking, oh yeah, it's going to be boring if I don't put something like that in there, because I was learning and it's hard to see.
but that was my impression. Like I could see what you did there, but it's sometimes like you overdo yourself,
Yeah.
But it's just a little small area, after that you get to the hotel, and that is another example for what I just said. You could go straight to your room and read the letter and get your stash, but there's always there are the other rooms, and they have little interesting stories from time to time as well. Like first, I read luckily I read the owner's diary or whatever it was, where he was talking about that addicted lady. And of course, you're wondering like if she's around, and then you go to that one room, and I don't want to say it now, even if people are listening.
Just spoil it.
I mean,
then she's like there shivering on the bed. That was pretty cool. That was like, great. That is, and that was what I love so much about it. That the whole area feels inhabited and lived. And not just it's not just the surrounding to get you to your goal. No, it's really a place I like to explore, and it's beautiful, by the way. That is and this is just the first, let's say, 10 minutes. That's an amazing start for a mission. Compared to Godbreaker, where the first mission is like with mixed feelings. Like here's a great start. Like the first area is really, is getting me, and then I want to go on.
Yeah, that first impression is important to try to keep people want to keep going.
I know that from personal experiences.
Me too. I mean, I'm probably somewhere between you and Psycho. I've played so many missions that I honestly can't remember all the details. I just remember in some ways, oh, I love that one, but I can't remember all the details. But sometimes I've jumped into missions, and if it's really, there's nothing grabbing me for like the first 5 or 10 minutes, I will abandon it, at least for a while, just because, we're supposed to be having fun, right?
Yeah. And so, checkmark, you did a good job there. Guys, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I do want to correct you in that you do have to go to your room first before you go to the rest of the rooms in the inn.
That's right.
You need your lockpicks.
You're right. Okay.
Yep.
But anyways,
I always love correcting you. So
that is technically not true.
You can clip through the doors, right?
Not just with the doors, but there is a way to get onto the balcony, and the balcony has an open door to one of the rooms. However, it's not the Poppy addict.
No, it's the guy's wife or who's sleeping in her bed, right?
The one he drugged, I think.
What just comes to my mind is a Poppy inspired by the 2014 Thief game, because there you have those poppies, I think.
Oh God,
I don't know. It could have been subconsciously. I was just trying to, hit poppy milk like drugs,
Okay, so it was no reference to that. Okay,
it's a known medieval drug, so
the poppies, I think they heal you in Thief 2014. But it was just coming to my mind. Sorry. So we made that clear. Check. Psycho, thank you for correcting me. But anyways, you can still explore the ground floor, and then you can see, I can clamp down there. Do I want to do that, or do I want to go up to my room? Blah 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 blah. And on the other hand, it's good that there's not too much distraction, because you should get your lockpicks pretty fast, and your blackjack, for me, very important. So it's a good balance there.
One thing that kind of annoyed me was I know there's literally an objective that says don't steal from the other.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, but like I don't think they would notice, if you took some of the loot in their rooms while they're downstairs partying, and then. Like I did like when you got the person, it's like you shouldn't have done that, and then it just like ends.
But it's one objective, you know. It's like the same, like don't knock out more than 5 guards. Why? Who's
Yeah.
counting? Like,
Yeah.
oh, he knocked out 6. Now he's going to hang. You know.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. I hate no knockout objectives. So I'm a big blackjack fan.
I'm just imagining, like, who is giving Garrett those objectives? Like,
I feel like they're like self-imposed ones.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I have to rescue the world, but nope. In Schultzgate, I
And-
stop after 5 guards.
he just
leaving.
dies out of like embarrassment of failing
Yeah,
his self-imposed goal. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I, as a fan of not blackjacking, I would say that I think this is one of the rules imposed on the player, just because the game can be only realistic in a certain extent, right? I've always felt, because I was thinking when I was played the Thief game for years and years, I was starting to think like, I'm in a police station and there's just 20 guards, sleeping on the floor now. And it's all very, very, it just can't happen that way. I think those rules are there to get a level of realism that the normal rules of the game can't really give or show. Because like if there was a guard, and every other 19 guards and the whole building would have been knocked out, I mean, it would be in a way pretty obvious that there's no voices coming, there's no footsteps anywhere, nobody's at their station. You know what I mean? That's the defense I'll give to that.
Oh yeah, I can get it.
I was just kidding with the question, actually. Like, I was just wanted to make some fun of Garrett, like where psychosis led us, like dying out of self-embarrassment. But thanks for the answer, Nax. Maybe you enlightened someone. But not us. We are pros and fans. So, yeah. So, Karen, at this point, my question is, what was your inspirations? Or next, do you want to go on with the inspiration stuff? This is your part.
All right.
Because I think
it
would make sense for the later talk. Like,
yeah, sure. I'll have to start with first, commenting on the first parts of the mission, as you've just done that. And I feel like as soon as you get placed into that mission, as soon as you start, the name of the game is Atmosphere. It's just from the canal, from the music that it first hits you, that guard walking by, and then finally climbing out of that canal section / police station, and you finally get through Vance shipping, and you enter the outside, the real city, and you see the festivities going on. It just keeps hitting you. The atmosphere is very, very, very good there. And of course, when I first saw festivities, it immediately reminded me of another female author.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you can, if I don't have to say the name, which is the another author that inspired that.
Yes, actually, you nailed it. Gatane absolutely did inspire me from Black Frog, and I loved the energy and fun of that part of the series. And I kind of wanted to do something similar. I like that lively feeling that you can get sometimes in FMs. I wanted it to be full of life and laughter, and just a bunch of drunk people having a good time. Yeah, but yeah,
I think you did a very good job at recreating that, and I'd go even further and say you built on top of that and increase that effect that liveliness brings, because it did. And in so many missions, I feel it feels empty. Of course, we're walking through shadows and we're trying to avoid crowded areas, but sometimes it feels like you're in a game world. This kind of brought it out, and it is very lively, and it feels like the city is very alive. So very well done.
Thank you. Yeah, atmosphere is my favorite part of building a mission, is making that world really as real as I can make it and feel it, because that's one of my favorite things when I play other people's missions. When although I think gameplay should always be the first focus, I do get carried away a little bit with atmosphere because it's an escape. You know, at the end of the day, we're all just looking to have a little bit of fun and kind of disappear into somebody else's world. So yeah.
Right.
At that point, what Next was just pointing out, what I liked was it was a nice addition, a nice difference to most. Like normally you would go around crowded areas, but here, since all the non-guard AIs, they don't recognize you, they are just dancing there, and you can be in that mission, you can be a part of that. You know, at least the AIs that are out on the streets, they are all drunken and partying, so they don't care for you, and you can just go through there and enjoy the things around you. For exception, you know, it's not the usual thief approach, but I think it was nice. It was a nice addition, like to feel like part of the environment.
You know, actually, I have my testers to thank for that, because when I first submitted this for beta, the NPCs were aware of Garrett. And yeah, I know, right? I mean,
Can't imagine how that works out.
that's beta test. It's
That must
all
have been
about
way
the
too
beta
hard.
testing, man. But they suggested, I can't remember who it was, but someone suggested, you know, it's kind of ridiculous. And aren't these people, they're all drunk, right? Why would they care? And I thought, well, that makes sense, you know. It was too challenging before, you know.
You would have had one fan, Clatremis, but yeah, thanks for changing that.
He actually did a ghost.
Did he make a video
on Morbid
Oh yes.
Curiosity?
Okay.
Brilliant, actually.
Of course.
I can't-
I imagine it must have been very hard, especially towards the end, because like I mean, we can get into this later, but there's some sections where I felt like there was a little bit of a forced combat almost, and it was a little. What?
Which sections?
Like right after. Well, this is way later in the mission, but right when you get in the gallery and the dewdrop like teleports you in that room.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And the zombie spawns.
That's fair.
And like looking right at you. I think it's already alerted. I'm not too sure.
It's not. What you can do is when you get teleported, the zombie is not immediately there, and if you quickly go behind that counter, which you would think it doesn't cover you completely, yeah, the zombie would just stay.
Like, you know, your first time playing it, you're not like, oh, I better immediately hide from this one direction where an enemy where I may or may not know exists is about to spawn. You know.
But that is not the, you know, that
I imagine for Clatremis, because he did know the mission. It's easy, yeah.
You know,
yeah, I can't believe the patience it took to get through that in ghosting. That's incredible.
Any mission, yeah.
I think he's used to that. I think he has figured out worse stuff. You know, he told us already. So I think that was like maybe easier. Like, okay, he knows the AI, how it works, and then he just checks his surroundings. Quick loads, tries it 3 times, and it works. In my imagination, I didn't watch it, but I think it's not too bad.
Well, yeah, one of the things that made it really challenging, though, is because that mission is absolutely stuffed with custom content, right? And so quick load takes a long time if you don't have a really fast machine.
Yeah.
And the kind of patience it takes to hit quick load all the time, just sitting there listening to that stupid theme, you know, constantly. Yeah, I should have found a way to make those files a little smaller. I think that's actually probably the number one weakness of that mission is the quick load times.
But as long as it's not, you know, gameplay wise, you know, it's yeah, this is like a technical issues you can't really avoid. You know, you want to have like a great mission with a lot of stuff in it, with great atmosphere and great details, or yeah, I want shorter loading times. You know, like.
I mean, it's 2020. If you have an SSD disk, it loads up very fast.
Yeah, it takes about.
I didn't have a problem.
5-10 seconds.
But to but back in the days when it was released, I can't imagine that. But
Right.
then the player has to be better, you know. It's as simple as that. You know, I always go, so it's not a problem for me. But some guys are just going around and knocking out everyone. Stupid. Don't do that.
I will say though that the custom like textures that you use were actually really like great for Thief, I think, because like a lot of times people try to use custom textures, and I feel like they don't really fit with the game too well.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know how to explain it, but like they're just like too either they look a
stick
little
out.
fake, yeah. But like the ones that you used and the way you kind of like meshed them together as well was actually like really like if that was in the city, I would have been like, yeah, this could be a section of the city, but it was also like another city, so like it was like really good in that aspect. I don't know how to explain it, but
I think we get your point. I have
yeah,
totally.
it felt like a part of the Thief world, whereas most times like they feel a little too gamey.
I think there are those missions that have this specific feeling because they feel from all the textures and all the atmosphere, they feel really well composed. I would say like Purus Calendra's Legacy is one of those, at least mission 2 was one of those. And there are, or Roxburgh, you know, there are those missions that they give me a specific feeling. I can't describe it, but they feel right. And this is one of those, like, you know, nothing feels out of place. Everything is like, yeah, this is a new city, this is not this city, and people are partying all the time, so it's a different atmosphere, but it feels right at the same points, at the same spots where it needs to be for a long time Thief fan. So yeah, good job there.
Thank you. Yeah, I know what you mean though. Like, you go into a DRK. Is it DRK, Dr. K,
Yes.
or Dark? I'm so sorry, DRK, if I'm saying that wrong. But
I always call him
Drick.
Dr. K.
I've heard Dark, but yeah, I've even heard people say Dr. K, but I just say DRK now. Anyway, like you go into one of his missions, you drop in, and they have a feel of their own. He has a style,
right?
You know, and even though it's off the OMs, it works. You know, like it just works for his style.
It's very
grimy.
I
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think what else is very special here is the detail. There's so many objects that totally fit where they are. You know, they feel like they belong there, and every, you know, I can't really think of an area except the door switch thing at the beginning that feels that doesn't feel right. You know, everything feels like this is the place it should be. You know, it seems like that.
Not only that, you were talking earlier about the puzzle and the sewers, which was which you said it was a side effect of you detailing everything. And I went through the mission when I was finishing my notes. I went through the mission trying to find a place which is not like detailed, because a lot of authors would forget, like they would detail this section because it's more important to the story, and then some other section would be a little bit barren, just because the player is not there a lot. But in Morbid Curiosity, every corner is packed with details. Every corner has something nice to look at. If either it's a guy puking into a bucket with special sounds to like, it's just, yeah, everything is so nice and very well detailed. I really love that. If we have to take the sewer puzzle for that, I'll take it any day.
Yeah, but maybe that's why it stands out so much, because everything feels logical, and then you have this, like, who would build that? You know, imagine the worker that has to go there every week, you know, to check, and then he has to, okay, now I have to open this gate, and then this will open, and now it annoys me, I should quit my job, and then he writes it down, and then I hear a creepy noise. Whoa. But yeah, maybe that's why it stands out so much. Maybe in other missions there would be many of those not so really logical stuff, and then you're like, oh yeah, I go for it. But yeah, that was just, and I'm just joking. That was the one area, and the rest really feels alive, and all the details, as I said. Did you do all the details after everything was done, or did you already construct everything the way it was from the beginning?
I mostly constructed everything with some details. In the maps that I had previously broken that I mentioned, I got carried away too soon, and you can wear out your resources really quickly if you get too caught up. So I learned the hard way, unfortunately, and I pretty much built it out before I started putting all the little details in, which is my favorite thing to do. I mean, clearly, I love little special details everywhere. I have so much fun doing that.
Yeah, we were joking some days ago when we were talking, where I said, like, yeah, maybe it's because you're a woman and you like to decorate things nicely. And as I said, the mission smelled really good. And yeah, I think
I think you have a point with that, actually. I've heard a couple of people say that, like, have sensed some kind of feminine touch or presence.
Yeah, like
right?
something
And
about
I think that's a compliment. I took that because if you look at Rowena's missions, look at Christine's missions, look at Christine's missions, there's a lot of detail going on there. So I'm not saying it's exclusively a female thing, but I think it does kind of hearken to a female presence a lot of the time.
It's a thing.
I'm like I was looking at this mission. I was like, I would never even like think of like, dropping these little bits of detail, like, because I'm thinking too like overall, like the template of the mission. But like I could never imagine just like doing these little touches here and there, and like,
but
how
you're
they
one player, so
you
don't have details.
You had a lot of details in your last one, though, Psycho. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, we will talk about that one day.
Yeah,
but we can't get Psychosis invited.
Don't. He's too shy.
That's great.
No, yeah, but this really sticks out, and it's some years old now. But there is actually you like supporting the female authors, because there was what was it, Rowena?
There was like 3, I think, like shout outs to other female authors.
Yeah, and that was insulting.
Or like, Easter eggs of them. Yeah.
There are few.
We're equality. Yeah, where is it? Why isn't there like Alex podcast studio in the in the shop? Why?
Oh, she did. She has that. I like the singers that were imprisoned.
I like seeing little like TTLG. Well,
yeah,
like little Easter eggs and like nods to people. I love that stuff.
What is funny here? You support your female community members, like giving them nice shops and stuff. And mostly when guys do it, they put their community friends in readables or stuff in a really bad way, like. Or I would just want to please, guys, play the contest missions. There's one thing. But yeah, I think you're really good at that. And I'm really looking forward to the Scarlet Cascable one day. Because this adds to.
Oh, you still haven't played it?
No, I played it, but we will talk about it one day.
Oh, you mean like as
I'm really
episode?
happy looking forward to.
You should play version 2. It's I haven't even gotten to it yet, but I've heard it's.
The author already told me to do that.
That's right, I did. Although if we ever did talk about that one, we'd have to have Tanner on too, because it's a 50-50 mission, man. Every part of it was both of us.
So we talked just about 50% of the mission. It's okay.
We'll only talk about mission 1. Yeah.
Why did he that?
It's a 2-parter.
I know, but no. So, but going on, after the first chapter, you get your stuff, then you get annoyed again, like, oh no, I need to get some rope arrows. No. And but you get them pretty fast. And that is a good thing about streamlining, because I imagined like first, of course, I get triggered when I read that. Oh, I have no blackjack. I have no things. I get them pretty fast. And now get your rope arrows somewhere else. Great. But because you streamlined it pretty much, it's not like other city missions where you have the decision like, okay, I can go all the way north and all the way west, for example, and the rope arrows are all the way north, but you decide to go west. And at the end of the mission, you get that what you wanted all the time. So Breaker Mission 3, that was the case with something where you could go totally wrong, and something you wanted from the beginning, and you streamlined it, and so it wasn't that annoying. So I think that's a very good decision.
And it also brings
easier though. I like getting the rope arrows from the Jacksbury Garden Shop. That's like right there by the inn. I want to make it close, but I don't for the life of me know why I couldn't make you lock pick that front door. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of things were unnecessarily difficult. I wish I wouldn't have done that. Yeah.
I think the only way in is the sewer, right?
That's right, which is kind of silly. Like when we were going through it yesterday, I was like, why did I do that?
That's good, PUKEY, because most people who play it are like longtime Thief fans. I think there aren't so many new members, and I think you are used to that because did you guys have problems finding it?
No. Like finding my way inside, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think there's nothing to discuss about. Like it's a normal Thief thing you do. You explore, and since there aren't too many ways, you can barely miss it.
Yeah.
Did you have many questions about that on the forums?
Like were people confused?
I want to say I did. It's a vague recollection, but a lot of people couldn't figure out how to get back out of that area, where the inn is, and there are some ways if you're really good at stacking and climbing and if you know those tricks, but I intended to make it so that you could really only rope up over that gate again to get back out so that you would get your rope arrows first. It just didn't, need to be quite so hard. But like
it's
not.
If
you're an explorer, you guys clearly are. And I do that too. Like when I go through a mission, I take my time, especially the first time around. I'm a slow player. I look at every nook and cranny. I read everything. I want to understand every inch of the mission. So for me, it wouldn't have been hard. But a lot of people, they don't play that way. I could have maybe made a healthy medium there.
No. So first thing, I think because you're excusing yourself so much for things, but I don't think it's really necessary. First of all, I remember that even if I had my rope arrows, even when I replayed it now, I was like, how do I get out? And it took me a while to think, to look up. And I think it's not the way most people play. I think most Thief fans play it like that. What's the game about? But sometimes it's like the face palm, like, oh, why didn't I see that? I think I can imagine so it's not your design decision that is questionable. It's just that they couldn't figure it out. We all have this in other FMs. Every one of us had those situations where like, oh, stupid when you forums. It's like, of course. It was that easy. And sometimes the easiest solution isn't the easiest,
And sometimes they're hiding things in plain sight. Like when I was playing Feast of Pilgrims the first time around, and I was in the priest's office, I totally missed the switch under the desk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such a classic trope for Thief. Like you always click the desk because you're looking for a hidden switch. But it happens to everybody. Yeah.
I have one question to you guys, to all of you, because where you just say that example, you mean the table and then the picture moves away or something like that, right?
And that where you get like the I think you get like the key for like, or like one of the you get the
what I wanted to ask is, because I had the same in Morbid Curiosity, can't you guys, when I enter a room with a picture like which is openable, in most cases when I enter the room I see the picture, I'm like, this will move. And most times I'm right. Do you have the same, like the intuition nowadays?
Yes, actually, I think that's a sign of a good author is you get a feeling about it. There's like there's a secret in here. Do you guys ever experience that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that, I wanted to ask you if you have the same, like, or maybe in that both two examples we just have. Like, there's one in your mission, PUKEY, where there's a picture on the wall and there's a hidden switch, and I there are other rooms with paintings, but I entered that room and I was like, yep, that will open. And it did.
Oh,
Where exactly?
What room? Yeah,
Uh,
what room again?
I don't know. It was not.
maybe the weapons shop. That one had a movable, like a sword.
Yeah.
No,
Weapons shop
it
has
was
one?
a bluish picture with a woman on it. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's that was actually an objective. That's for the
Oh,
smuggler.
the thief. Yeah, the hideout or whatever, right? The smuggler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
learn his crush.
His
Ah,
motivation.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right. That was that. And I went in there and was like, "Yep,
yeah.
that's it."
Uh-huh.
Did you have
Good.
the same? Because you in that mission you have many unique pictures on the wall. So sometimes like, oh, there's that one unique picture in the whole mission. But here are many of those. So but I don't know. It's an intuition nowadays I have, like, and mostly I'm right. So maybe the forums could tell us if you guys have the same intuition.
Yeah, and sometimes that's done in a good way where you get the intuition, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
it's great.
you probably noticed in a couple of missions where the texture would just change slightly for that little section that it will actually open, and you know that it's a door, but you need to find the switch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's especially
I'd say-
with the HD textures nowadays, where that specific one doesn't change.
Okay. So that's a bad way, but when you get the intuition that there's a secret there, yeah, that's a really
Then you get some morbid curiosity about it.
Hey, I'm so sorry. Could you guys hang on just a second? I have to go grab something.
Sure.
That's cool.
Just a moment, okay?
Yeah, let's go on. What can we guys talk about? By the way, we will talk about the contest, but when it's done, when all the votings and stuff, when it's in June, right?
Yeah.
I believe
it's-
so. Yeah.
I think it's the
20.
right way to do. You don't want to
Yeah.
influence the voting process in any way.
And maybe, guys, please tell us if you maybe want us to try to invite maybe the top 3 authors for individual episodes for these FMs. Tell us on the forums, on Twitter, or on YouTube. That would be great. I think at least one guy will join us, definitely.
I wonder who.
I'm not talking two of when Psychosis wins.
Oh yeah, of course. Because you all gave it 30 out of 30, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
I gave it 40 out of
Oh, whoa.
30. Yeah.
He hacked
Oh
the
my.
site actually.
But then it said I can't vote, and then I didn't want to give a wrong voting. I had to come from my heart, and it didn't accept 40, so I was like, okay, then I don't vote. It's like voting
Yeah.
politics. Like if there's
Yeah.
no one that is for my political vision, then I don't vote. It's simple as that. So Karen, you're back.
I'm back.
Yeah. So there's because Sekos, you said like at the end of the mission, and for you this is the gallery, right?
Yes.
For me, actually, the gallery is like the middle, the peak of the mission, because afterwards there's a lot more.
I guess. For me, it was the last thing I did. I tried to do everything else that I could have possibly done before I went into the gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is one thing, because PUKEY, as you said, you wanted to streamline it a bit and to tell the story. And in the way I played it this time, I got to the gallery, and this is clearly the highlight, and we will talk about this in detail later, but it's clearly the highlight. And then afterwards, I have all the stuff, with the packages I have to deliver. And the way I played it, it was a bit of a letdown at the end. You got the highlight, and now it should be going back or whatever, and then it's like the delivery job I have to do. And this was a design choice not so great in my opinion, because it would have been great if you would have like 5 packages as one position in the inventory, and not 5 individual packages. Maybe you get a letter that tells you who to deliver it, and not on the boxes. so you have more items to scroll, blah 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 blah. But maybe there your streamlining was maybe missed. I missed it there. Like if you could force me to do all the stuff before.
You combined all the keys, but you didn't combine all the packages. Yeah,
I never even thought of that actually. And actually, Psycho, I play like you. Like you get a sense for the big finale. Like before I go into the big finale area, I'll clear out the rest of the area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but when I'm already there, I don't go back like, oh, maybe there's a package delivery service that needs my help.
Well, here's the thing. That's a easy pitfall, and it's kind of a tough one because you don't want to completely corral the player. You want to give them some freedom to do things in their own order and what's fun for them. But I was kind of urging the player as best as I could to do the gallery last.
Didn't work.
Yeah,
I think
I'm just kidding.
I'll disagree here with Alex. I think it did a good job there, because not only the gallery, you can't really go in through the front entrance. Even if you try, you're led to the abbey first, and it kind of goes from there. And you have to go through the crypts to get into the gallery. And for me personally, it was enough of a deterrent to do other things first, because now I'm going underground into the crypts. You kind of want to be prepared. I always thought like maybe I'll get more hints, more weapons, maybe another vial of holy water somewhere else. So for me, that part did work.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of trying to suggest to the player in the best way I could. For instance, I put the entrance to the actual gallery from the canal has boards over the door, right? And that was a big hint. You need your sword first, and without forcing it, And yet, if you guys watched Clatremus's playthrough, he got through that without a sword.
Yeah,
he totally snuck around it.
And then he had to ghost back.
Oh my goodness. I was so impressed. I didn't even know you could do something like that in Thief. But little suggestions like that to try to say, yeah, you want to get your sword first. I really would hate to think of anyone going through the gallery without a lot of weaponry,
Yeah. So I'm not always very serious, but it was just like in that, like I had the highlight and now it was just like that. I just wanted to tell, in general, like where that, as you said, it's really hard to make an open sandbox environment,
Yeah.
And then you can't do things in order the dramatic curve is best for, and of course there's the risk, and it's it's a Thief game, so I have more Thief to play. It's nice, and the things you can do later are interesting as well. It's like the smuggler, which is still a goal where you can go, and this is a nice area as well. Especially, of course, there's a woman thing. There's that poor woman with her daughter. And that
helps.
and was it, and then you have a good introduction of Benny.
Benny, he's amazing.
Everyone loves Benny, but right? I liked it. And then wait, I know who this guy is, and and he says "inside at last," doesn't he? When he enters the gallery,
he says it somewhere in the mission.
I think he actually says that when he goes up into his room for the first time, but I could.
Right, yeah, and that's why it's 10 out of 10 mission. So
I love Garrett's comments too. Clearly.
So let's get back into things a bit into order. So we have been to the first area. Where I went next was the police station. To get around there,
right? Yeah, that's right.
And I think so you have the nice hotel, and then that's one thing. You're teasing things, and this is really nice, like the boarded door, where crime happened, the bookstore, I think it was. But you can't enter from outside, even with your lockpicks. So there's something to come, and there's little teasings I like, because they're not too hard to accomplish later. But there's like, why did you choose the title? Was it that?
The title for the mission?
Yeah.
I thought about the title in terms of the old curiosity shop, right? And
Is it,
morbid
is
curiosity.
it an English thing? I
Words,
don't know. What is
because
secure?
there was actually a mission called the Old Curiosity Shop. Not, it didn't inspire this one, but I was trying to think of something clever. And since it's kind of, the gallery is certainly a strange place of curiosities, and it's a morbid place, I thought, oh yeah, well that's a kind of a saying, and that's how the name happened.
It kind of felt like a Ripley's Believe It or Not, like kind
Doesn't
of
it feel like a wax
gallery.
museum or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a clever name, then you call your mission like Pursuance of an Insecrutable Reciprocity.
That's 10 times fast.
Diapers next time. Yeah, next. So you get from that area to the police station. I think the police station is the next most obvious place to go.
Yes, because the sword's there. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know at that, but this is the next nice area, that has atmosphere, that has a nice thing that stuck to your head. Those singing guys that were imprisoned. Then the angry what is it?
Like boss.
Yeah,
like
the
lieutenant.
Yeah.
The lieutenant, right? And in that little place, there's so much going on. It was amazing. One question is the gas arrow that was hidden there for the sheriff, right? For the lieutenant, right? So that you can knock him out.
No, that's actually that's just a happy accident. That was actually added too, I think, and I got to version 1.3, and some terms they had a little bit of a public beta test, and then I thought I was trying to make that great, more visible and more rewarding for the player, so I put a gas arrow up there because there's only 2 gas arrows total in the city. I thought we needed one more.
Yeah, especially at that place. City. It's amazing. We are at the police station right now. Mm-hmm. And I already mentioned the singing guys, and now we are at the lieutenant, the angry lieutenant, who has to relieve his stress at the puppet training doll, and he is wearing a big armor, so you can knock him out. I think I didn't try, but I was like, I saw the armor, and it's normally, if you know fan missions, it's like okay, but you can straight rope up. And then go through that little door there, and then you can grab the gas arrow, so you can knock him out, actually, which was nice. And then I found out something I never knew about the Thief engine, but there are already arrows stuck into the shooting targets, and when you jump on them, you get hurt. I didn't know that.
Oh man, I didn't know that either. Like I learned that later on when I was building another mission. You can take those stems off the arrows, and I didn't know how to do that at the time. Luckily, I think most of them are above eye level, so you have to kind of jump to get yourself shot by an arrow that's stuck into a target.
But you can jump from on them, because you're right above them. And I thought like, oh, let me try to jump on them and to stand on them. And first time it worked. And then I wanted to jump on the next one, and then I got, and then I just had only 2 shields left of energy. But that was new for me. But anyways, the whole place is another full of detail place. And then I think one of the most important areas before the gallery is the smugglers area, right?
Wait, just a second. I played the mission like 6 times before figuring this out, but I always went to the captain because you have to get his key to get to his office and get the sword, and I would always go in through the balcony, and then with the lift to the top floor, sneak up behind him and get the key, right? And I remember I was playing first on the version 1.0, and in that version he would sort of stay in the same place, whereas in 1.3, which is the newest one, he does circle around that thing. At least it did when I played it right now.
Really?
Well, for me it was, and it was like slowly circling, and it was it was harder to sneak up on him. Felt like more realistic. But I always went through that route. And only later on I tried to go because in the area where he is, you can get. You were talking about the gas area, you can get into the pipeline. And
Yeah.
I was blown the other day because I went into the pipeline through the other way, to the reverse way that I was doing before.
Through the secret way?
Yeah, through the secret way. And I was amazed because I didn't have to enter the room where the captain was, because there's a little, like, you can see, like, there's like ventilation gaps, and it's right on the let's say hip level, and you can get the key through those ventilation gaps while he's circling around.
That's right.
That was amazing.
That's completely luck of the draw too. And I actually didn't fix him, so it may just be the way your game loaded, or I don't think I fixed him in the later versions. But it's always random, like how you come up on the captain. He could be facing the door or against the door or by that grate that you saw.
Mm. Well, I hope I get lucky the next time, because I'm definitely going to try that.
I think for me, like, he was looking like at the grate, like he was facing towards it.
On the 1.0,
Yeah.
like the first 5 playthroughs, he was always with his back against the door. So you wouldn't be able to get the key. But this time, he was there, and for me, it was circling. So I could have waited and got the key.
Okay. Yeah, that whole the whole guardhouse is an homage to Cell 6. I love that. Yandris, Random Taffer, and Tanner, the Yanran Tans. And I even used the skins. I don't know if they borrowed them from somewhere else, but I even used the skins that they had from their mission. So there was a nod to some males, just so you know.
Nice. Sorry, Alex, we interrupted you.
I'm
Feel
sorry.
free to
Doesn't
continue.
count. Because you have to be an insider to. I didn't recognize actually the Cell 6 thing, because I don't know. Even if I compare them, I don't see the similarities actually.
Not in the style of building, but just little things like the uniforms and it just being, a guardhouse.
Okay. Yeah, but this was an amazing area, and now I wanted, at least maybe you guys didn't, but I wanted to talk about the smugglers area, because I like that a lot, and I like the whole thing. Like, it's really in different chapters, and each one tells a unique story.
That's probably the only area in the mission which I didn't like.
Oh.
You know what? That's actually probably
why.
my least favorite part of the mission was the smugglers area.
It's your favorite or least favorite?
Least favorite.
Thank God.
I liked it.
Thank God.
Because Next doesn't like it.
Just, I didn't like the feel as much there as in other parts, of the mission.
But why did you? Why do you do something that you are not really fully going with that? Because I liked it, but I'm wondering.
I actually don't dislike it. I won't say that. It's just not as, I don't like it as much as some of the other areas. And I wanted to just give the players more to do. I don't know if I think it depends on what kind of player you are. If you like that, I love like endless side quests and all that stuff. But I don't know.
It depends on how they're done. I think this one was a good side quest, that because you figure out something that is like the twist is nice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'd like doing the twist. That was fun, and I love doing things that not everybody's a bad guy. You expect to see one thing and you find out that, oh, okay, he's just a dude. He just likes a girl. That part of it I like.
It adds some humanity to, normally there's only cliches, and that now when I think of it, the whole thing is a bit, anti-cliche. There's so many little things that are different than the normal thief missions. They would normally go with the cliche we all know, but here, for example, you give Benny a story, a little reason, why, and I like it, and sometimes you don't realize it, but when it just happens, but it's there, and yeah, that's a cool thing.
Did you guys have trouble figuring out Benny's lunchbox was what you used to put in the anything helps box?
No, because that was so
Yes.
obvious.
Really?
I didn't.
But only because I didn't even see the box.
Okay, well, you...
Because I didn't want to walk
Next, that
near
was you
them.
that just said that, yes?
Yeah. What?
Which one of you said you didn't see the box?
Me.
The crate where they ask for food.
Psychosis.
Sorry.
I
wasn't
didn't
looking
want
at
to
the
get
screen.
near them. That's why. I was
Because of Corona.
because
or
they're
what? Psychosis is now playing the game like with 2 meters or 86
yeah, man.
cups distance to all
Well,
the
no,
other
because okay,
AIs.
but like really, it's because when I went into the smugglers, then I went in through like the secret entrance,
Okay.
like with the machinery. So I never even had to go on that street by them, and I just saw them through the
Oh.
gate.
Okay.
Because I think that because I found it later, and then I found the box later, and then I was like, oh, and then I had to look up that it was the lunch box or the lunch that you took from Benny to go in there. But like at first I didn't. I just thought they were like a scenery because I didn't even know you could get on that block out there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I
But you
had
didn't know Thief is about exploring?
No,
Yeah.
of course not. I just heard a person tell me that he dumped like his whole like inventory of food, like the giant cakes, all of this stuff into that box. But the only thing they want is Benny's lunch. Like that's the only thing they'll take. But since it was a little side quest kind of thing,
The same kind of thing happened to me.
Yeah, I did that years ago when I played it first time. So yeah, it can happen.
So I usually avoided that whole first area when you come out because I always played like I try to avoid even the guys that are neutral. And the area up where Benny can be found felt like I had to go way out of my own way to reach that. And I do remember on one of the first few plays, I did find the box, but I then kind of forgot it. Never put it anyway. It was in one of the runs that I did for preparation that I thought I was near the gate to the smugglers then, and I was thinking if there's a certain way to get into that place because I don't like the way you get into that place, and I tried to kind of maybe glitch through that gate that's there, maybe reach the switch on the other side, and at one point the mother I think says, or the child says, "I'm so hungry," and I do remember at that point I was thinking that it feels like there's a lot of Lady R's influence in this mission, and I thought there must be a way.
And next, because you played several versions of 1.1, the first version, I didn't have the anything helps on that box before. It was just a probable crate, and it was kind of too vague. So I added that so people would know.
Interesting, because to me it was the audio cue that made me think.
Hugely influenced. One of the things I love about Lady Rowena's missions is these little side quests and doing good deeds. That's
exactly
so fun. Yeah. Like but they're so fun. Like saving the Burrick, little baby Burrick in Seven Sisters. Mm-hmm. Little heartfelt little things you can do to help people, even though it may not really be.
You cut off a little bit.
Discord.
Yeah. Maybe. No, wait, PUKEY, can you just leave and come back to the channel? I think that helped with Randy.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you just reconnect to the channel and disconnect and come back to the channel? That helps sometimes.
Okay, hang on.
Thank you.
Something.
Discord.
Yeah, when Rob was there, it helped. So maybe.
How's that?
Yeah, well, let's see.
Okay. So was I really breaking up when I was trying to tell you that?
You
last
stopped
thing was like the baby Burrick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was talking about answering Nex's question about Lady Rowena being an influence, and absolutely. I mean, I think she's amazing, and I love her good deed side quests. I love doing those things. So I definitely wanted to implement them in this mission. And I even named the psychic shop after her in honor of that, because it's, for me as a player, I really enjoy doing that. Whether or not Garrett would be the kind of person who would do that or admit to doing that, I think a lot of players like doing those little kind of things.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a nice opposite thing, like a Robin Hood feeling.
Right. Yeah. Like you can excuse yourself for robbing everybody blind because you help them out, right?
Yeah, kind of. Of course, you rob blind people as well all the time, but then you can feel like, yeah, I'm a good guy. No, and I think as long as they don't distract you too much, because this is a little thing, you stumble upon the box of food, and then there's the crate, and you put one and one together, and this it doesn't distract you. You don't have to walk miles. And then those things are nice. The little Burek I found annoying because it had a bug. It didn't start running. No, I think we even had that when we talked about the mission, one of our first episodes. And for me, the dude didn't start walking, or he got stuck somewhere. I don't remember it, and then I didn't know.
I think it was you had all the gates opened already for him to start, but I'm not sure.
But it's not our topic. But I just wanted to say that, like, this, he could, nothing bad could happen here. It's just a simple thing, and then those things are really nice. But what I think is, what I really liked is that here you get something that really feels the reward for doing the good deed. Feels really cool because you get that key to a door I already have seen before. I was like, oh, there's that door I can't open. And when I got the key, and this was amazing. When you go to the door you can't open, and then you do the little good deed, and you get the key. And then a similar melody plays, right?
That's right. A lot of people, I think, miss that. You caught that.
But that is so great. We will come to the sound design later, because this is one of my most favorite parts of the mission. But this is one little example, like designing something and giving the player a clue. Because even if you didn't find the door already, but when you heard that while giving them food, and then you come to the door, you're like, great. And the other way around, it works the same. Like, I have the door, I was there, I heard the sound through the door, and now I got the key, and it makes the same sound. And it's like, yes, easy. I don't have to look around like stupid. I just know where to go. Great. Thank you.
Good catch. Really. I don't think, I don't know. I can't speak for players, but you're very observant, to have caught that.
I showed you a video how observant I am.
I know. I loved it.
In the what is the store, the flower, whatever, what I showed you in the video, the store right next to the inn.
The Jacksberry Garden Shop.
Yeah, and right, and there are those water puking things. And there are those little, really, guys, look, when you play the mission, look at those water pukers, whatever they're called. And there are little gaps. At the first one, I thought, like, this is a secret door. And then I checked the others, and like, oh no, they are the same. Maybe it's because of just the creation of this thing. But yeah, we are very observant.
Your powers of observation may make me want to recruit you for a beta tester in the future. Just saying.
Oh, no. Ask Belzer how beta testing works with me. You should ask Matt99. And I'm not joking. Ask Matt99. He will find everything that's wrong with the mission. And
yeah,
really.
He actually tested version 2 of Cascabel. So yeah, he's very good.
Yeah. He can be annoying, but
he'll stick his tongue out at you for every mistake. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the problem?
All beta testers are annoying, though, if they're any good.
Oh yeah.
Marble Man, though, gotta say, shout out to that guy. He is a kick-ass. Sorry, shouldn't say bad words. Beta tester.
You can hear. It's no problem. It's I don't know. Is it explicit? I don't know.
I mean, we've cursed enough already in the episode. It's fine.
Yeah, so fuck it.
That's, yeah, I'm really toning it down.
So, let's go to the gallery.
Let's go.
Wait.
Okay, well, I knew that. That's
wait,
always
we,
nice.
we
It's
should
good.
talk about the Hammerite place first, right?
Oh no! Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
But the we just touched the smugglers area.
That's true. We only like briefly talked
Right.
about
Only
it.
We
mentioned
talked about
it,
the
To be
lady.
fair, there's not much to it, if I remember correctly.
That is true. That is.
I think there's like the one little warehouse area with the elevator, and then you can like.
Actually, yes. There's not, but there is that twist. And
I mean, it's a
we
side
should
area,
talk
so
about the
it's not-
twist.
yeah.
The twist thing we found there. So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I really
Kitty.
love that the leader of the thugs, the main smuggler, lacks the confidence to talk to a girl. You know what I mean?
I think
Like-
most players can relate to that.
And that's where I found out that the I don't know if it was said beforehand, but that's where I found out that your contact was a girl. Like,
Exactly.
Me too.
Because I don't know if it was said somewhere else, but like I was like, oh, the person who's like putting me on this mission was a girl. I didn't know the whole time.
Peyton, right?
Yeah, Peyton.
Yeah.
Peyton is a guy's name, I thought, but
Yeah, that was
that's-
intentional. I chose a
Okay.
name that's it sounds female, but maybe
No.
not, you know. So I kind of wanted the players to find that out.
it's like Brunster. It doesn't sound female as well. So
Well, if you know Punky Brewster, the 80s sitcom, you'd probably think girl. But actually in the early days, a lot of people thought I was a guy. Which is fine. I don't care.
until you got emotional and
I went home and cried. No, really.
no, but yeah, the same. I can totally say the same. Psychosis, which was another twist, but that wasn't on purpose.
Yeah. So that part was very nice, and as well as the.
Can we just? I thought to
into-
go on with that now, because so now let's say what it is. You get the objective from the Peyton. That
She's like complaining that I
She
think
got
like she's
followed.
been followed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, hey, go, check out what's going on with the smuggler, why he's sending men, to keep tabs on me or whatever, like what's going on. And then you get there and you go through his safe, and it's just a little diary, and he's like, man, that Peyton sure is a beauty. I wish I could have the courage to sit down and have a chat with her. It's just like it's just so funny. Because I was like I think we said it earlier. I was expecting something like sinister, like he wanted, like she double crossed him on a deal, or well, I thought it was a guy, so he double crossed him on a deal or something, and then it's just like, nope, he's just a shy guy. He's just shy.
this was the smuggler section, yeah, which is actually from the area, not a special place, but yeah, actually we like the thing what you find out there. So what else areas are there to talk about before we go to the gallery? The Hemorrhoids, right? Psychosis, you mentioned that.
Yeah, I guess is that pretty much like the only area left, I believe, correct? Like in the city.
Like a main destination. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
First of all, it seems like a really small Hemorrhoids cathedral.
Yeah.
Like when you enter,
It
it's
looks
like,
smaller than it is. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, this is really small. Did she run out of space or something? But later it opens up.
Was it the last thing you made? Like one of the last things or something?
Okay. And actually, I did want to make it a little bigger, but I wanted it to be a chapel and not a cathedral. I did want that because it's inspired by an actual place in life. But I did actually have more to it. There was more yard around it, more graves, and it actually went all the way around the chapel at one point. But I did run out of cells at the end, and I started, sacrificing goats to try to get the thing finished, and I had to chop it down a bit. Mm-hmm.
So what I liked was that you have to do something which is not so usual, like to find the secret passage, which is actually necessary to go on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But but you have a really nice way of giving the hints to the player. Like it's not too cryptic. And maybe I can't imagine like so many people had problems.
Yeah, the only thing I felt that was off was the whole bit with the library and the little stained glass behind the office, like in his office where you get the like the hammer to use in the library, I believe, because it like most of the windows are like the same and they're not like probable, and then that's the only one that is, and you can miss it like in your first time in the room.
Yes, and actually I had heard that. In fact, when I watched Fenn's LP, he missed it too.
Yeah.
But that one's actually, I don't think that one's as bad though as in the library. And I noticed this again yesterday. You can barely see.
Yes.
Oh my
the hammer on the hammer. Yeah.
Yes, I should have put like, I didn't know how to put light on objects so they actually appeared at the time. It's very easy to miss. And since you need to go through that way, it's not just a secret. I would have made it a lot more, a little more contrast. You could find it. Yeah. I can't believe how much, honestly, how forgiving the community has been, and really love the mission. 'Cause all little quirks like these, there are quite a few that pop up, unfortunately.
But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't hard for me to it was I'll say it wasn't easy to miss that place where the hammer key on the hammer, because the library is usually the place where we thoroughly go through, right? Perhaps a lot of people, went through the bookcases first, looking for a book switch, but
probably, yeah.
That's what I was doing for the longest time. Right? Yeah.
That's kind of a pet peeve for me, though, when I play fan missions, if there's too many bookcases and you're supposed to find one book. So I didn't want to do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but players will do anyways.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like you'll come into a library and you just see it's full of bookcases, and I have to go through each and every one of them. Crouched, middle section, top section, and actually, usually I don't have a problem with it, especially if it's an empty room. But I've noticed in a couple of missions where I really liked the mission, but it was a big library with patrols going through it, and the floor was tile.
Oh, yeah.
And you really have to go slowly, and you have to hide when patrol comes. Oh, that was a problem. And then in the end, you see that there's no switch in the whole library.
Yes, I like it when the author gives you a hint, like a guard or someone like walking there sometimes and looking at the specific bookshelf, maybe giving you a hint like there's something special or something like that. That is a good hint. And what helps, at least I have the feeling that since I'm playing with the HD textures, that those books pop out a bit more. They distinguish more from the others. So this helps. And maybe I just it feels that way. Maybe it isn't, but I think it is. That helps. If you guys hate that, maybe try that. HD textures, and the books are still low res.
But while we're at the Abbey, this is one of my favorite. I think all around in all missions, like one of my favorite moments, when you go into the graveyard. Well, just the way you open the way to the crypts, where you first have to, where the Garrett starts reading out the chant, and then you do the holy water. Like the first time I did that, I was grinning. I feel like 20 minutes after that, I was still grinning from that moment. Though I remember in version 1.0 or 1.1, immediately when you start reading the chant, you could use the holy fountain. Whereas in later in later versions, you have to read the chant throughout before you can use the holy the font that where you get the the holy effect on your water arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like or maybe it was just me, but I'm pretty sure that the last 2 runs that I had on 1.3, it enabled itself after you completed the chant. And I liked the 1.0 more because you would sort of he's like started reading the chant and he's still talking and you're already aiming the arrow. I don't know. It was just cool from the start to the end, and then you enter in, and I swear, I don't like entering the crypts. Crypts are not my favorite place. But with that entry there, I was like strutting down those stairs. That was super awesome.
We actually talked about this yesterday. That's a bug. I could never figure out why it didn't work. And actually, it was supposed to not start. You know, the holy water wasn't supposed to shoot up until you did complete the prayer. But for whatever reason, I could never, it's completely unpredictable. Sometimes it'll start when you start the prayer, and sometimes it'll start when you finish the prayer. And I just figured, not being that technically savvy with this kind of stuff, either way, it works. So I'm glad to hear you actually liked the bugged way.
One question, the way he reads that, it's from the first game, right?
I think it's when you're in Return to the Cathedral, when you're like blessing one of the bodies.
That's right.
I was wondering, like, wow, and it's not from Thief 2, so it must be from the first game.
Yeah.
But as Nex said, like, I hate entering crypts, but this time it was like, I wasn't even like, I was fearless going down there, and at first you go there and there's nothing to worry about, it's like there's nothing creepy, at least okay, it's a crypt, but until you don't do anything, that nothing dangerous happens. And then, which is really nice, at least in my difficulty level, that those, let's call them dead monks or whatever they are, they just walk in circles. So I go there with my sword and on the back, and they're gone. So easy. But I like that you have to go to put things together, and then you make progress. It's not just a crypt for just getting some random loot. It's a progress thing, and you need to do it, and it's just a simple step.
Just a simple step, true. But I love those skins. I think those are Pink Dot who made those monk skins. They're so creepy.
They are pretty detailed with the faces and stuff already, right? From that era.
I want to see more AI skins that artists make. I'm not great at this. I don't know Blender. I don't have any to do any of this stuff. But that are like that have a little bit more character than some of the AI. I think the AI is one of the weaker points of the original Thief series. The way they look, and then their mouths don't move, their eyes don't close, and stuff like that. So maybe at least we could get some artists to make them more detailed, like the ones that are in there. I love those.
But what happens in reality? You have a random Teffer that puts Thief 1 characters into Thief 2 missions.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
There's totally so many things wrong with it, because they totally stick out. I go with you, PUKEY, that I love those, and the machines today should be capable of running all this stuff. I remember first seeing those the specific faces with the more round, with noses actually. It was based, I don't know, a mission, and I was totally stunned that the of doing that. I think the AI models you're used to creepy anymore. They just look like rubbish.
Did you just not like the like I'm always curious, like, why people, like, because I imagine you just reskinned the haunts, right? Like, you just told it to use that model.
That's right. Yeah.
So like, we're just like the regular haunts. You like just didn't like the look of them, I guess. Like, I always wonder why people kind of do that.
I love haunts. Haunts are one of my very favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Iconic.
But for that story, they were supposed to be brothers Frick and Xander. They were telling that story, and I thought they should look like monks.
Okay.
And monks are more creepy. You are used to the haunts. They're like buddies. Actually, I think they're one of the favorite AI characters. So, what I found really funny is the Frick guy. The where I work, the city is called Frick on German. So that was like,
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of German influence.
I know we will come to that later with the maybe you're talking about the sound, the guy singing. Yeah, I will translate that later even.
Cool.
Yeah. Next.
We were just talking about the entrance to the crypts, and in all, it's sort of the entrance to the gallery, which is a adventure in itself, and it's I don't have the correct word right now, but it's just the perfect entry for that place. And with the chant that I really liked, and then followed with the descent into the water, and then you have the music behind that starts kind of like really deep and drummy.
That was
when
amazing.
you went into the waters. It kind of prepares you through. You know you're not going to a bright place after
Right.
after that play.
Where's that from? The chant or the music? I know that.
Somebody told me. Here's what happened. Like, I can't remember where I got a lot of this from because I was pulling it from other people's fan missions over the years. I mean, over 5 years, I've been collecting all these different ambience and textures, etc. And I don't think it's from the Thief series at all.
So you're a prepper.
Yeah. So I unfortunately couldn't credit the original author, but it was kind of an ominous, kind of almost a melodramatic kind of ambient that I just thought would work there,
But this author has been taking it from somewhere else. So I know the original song. I think so. I was wondering if you know what the original was, so I can remember. But okay,
if I can figure it out, I'll post it on the thread, so we can all know.
Yeah, that would be, or maybe the forum.
Since we're at the music, I think I recognized a certain song, let's say, or ambience that was playing right when you start descending into the tour itself, when you hand in the tour ticket. I got reminded of the King's Story. I think the music was from there.
It could be. I don't remember a lot of it, and it's been so long since I even worked on it.
Yeah, if you just collect resources, I think it's hard after a while to keep track of what's from where and stuff. So, but if you take it to good use, doesn't matter. So it worked.
Yeah, although I fear that I forgot to credit authors where credit is due, and that actually happened. I added a couple of authors to the README after they had actually let me know after the original release, the 1.0, upon the subsequent versions, because I grabbed them from other people's fan missions, and a lot of times when you do that, the author just has a README with just everybody's names together. It's not specific to what song or ambient or text, etc. you're using. Moving forward from there, though, I kind of learned after having received those messages, like, okay, from now on, I'm going to make sure I actually track where I got everything.
I didn't want to say that it doesn't matter, like crediting anyone, but I think for that specific example, it's like, okay, this music, he didn't compose it. I'm pretty sure.
No,
so
no.
He took it from somewhere else. So it.
This is why you just don't make a README. Like just, you wipe yourself.
Like, I'm one of those people that I almost want to confess in my README. Okay, I took it from here. I don't want to have any kind of.
Sorry, I didn't do the mission by myself.
But yeah, that causes other problems too, right?
Karen, PUKEY, are you a fan of like scary movies?
Yes, and actually, that's like one of my top 2 influences. I'm absolute humongous buff of. I'd say the horror genre, although when you say horror genre, people automatically think gore. I'm not really a gore fan. I like suspense and I like spooky, like haunted houses, ghost stories, that kind of thing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because the whole dewdrop possessed thing, I mean, I didn't notice when I first went into the curator's office that it was actually the dewdrop that disappeared. I noticed that little detail later on, because I've seen the mission. I've seen that it takes, it's present throughout the scares that follow that. But because right when you enter curator's office, there's dewdrop sitting on a desk, and when you go a little bit further, is it floating? I don't think at that point I don't think it's floating.
Isn't he floating over it?
No.
No,
It's
it's
that one
sitting.
standing on the desk. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's looking at the thing that you have to press, which is also because I missed that.
that.
Is she?
Nice.
Okay. Oh,
Mhm.
because you said earlier you didn't want to put a book switch in the library in the Hammerite place. So like I already thought that there wasn't gonna be one in there for the longest time. And I was like bugging Yandros of all people. I was like, "Hey, do you know what to do here?" He's like, "Man, I don't know. I haven't played that in like probably 3 years." And then
He knows everything.
yeah, that's what he
God.
does. So I usually just annoy him whenever I don't know something. And then I had to look up the thread. It was like, yeah, there's a switch in his room, and then it's a book switch, and it's actually pretty obvious. So I was like, oh my god.
But next, let's be honest. Did you recognize it the first time you already played it, or is it just over the time?
Oh no, that was the second time I played. I noticed it.
Because I noticed the dewdrop, but I ignored it. It was just a dewdrop at that point. And then I found the book. I got back into where the zombie curator was, and then I came back. And this is the thing you did 1, 2, or 3 times in the mission. Like you have to get to a specific point until a key drops somewhere, right?
Yeah. Once you go inside that secret room in the curator's behind the secret door, and you read his readable, the dewdrop disappears and it's replaced with a key.
Yeah, right. And that's not the only one time it happens.
Hmm.
I thought maybe I got the impression, but I think
No, I think it's I don't remember
Okay.
other times.
okay. Then maybe I overlooked the keys.
But to be honest, I didn't notice the dewdrop disappearing at all.
There's a lot of time.
No, what I wanted to say is that I ignored the dewdrop, and then I got back out of the secret place, and then I was going around because I ignored back out because there was the dewdrop. So, but I didn't care for it. So then I was like, hey, how do I get on? I can't open the door. And then I was searching the place, and then I was, here's the key suddenly. Or did I overlook it? I don't know. And then later when the dewdrop appears again, then I was like, drop, of course. So yeah, it's I think it's a clever way, like putting something every player knows and doesn't pay much attention to. And then later it becomes something important to the story, or to at least to that place. And to the end, I'm still curious what's that all about.
Well, either way, I'm sure a lot of players missed the first dewdrop disappearance, but I'm pretty sure that we were all like I said before, we knew we're not going into a bright place, right? You knew there's something's awry with this gallery, but things really go to 11 when the door actually opens, and on the wall in front of you you see let's play.
Yeah,
I remember the the first time I played, the pace that I was going from then on. I did not like, how you creep across the tiled floor not to make a sound. That was the only movement I made from that on, because the dewdrop was, oh god. And I remember like later on when the dewdrop's looking at you, and you have to, I think it says on the wall, it says peekaboo behind her. That's the point when she teleports you somewhere else. I remember I didn't want to go there. I don't want to go towards that doll. I know it's possessed. She said, "Let's play." I don't want to. But then I kind of went back and I checked if there's another option. What can I do? And then I said, okay, maybe I'll slowly creep towards her. And then she teleports. Jesus Christ.
But what made it for me? Okay, the last replay I did, so dangerous in that area, but first time I played it, I totally know what you meant. But what was adding to this have been the creepy situations in the sewers before, like in the basements of those shops and stuff, where you find those creepy noises and this one zombie ghost thing, and with those symbols on the floor, those satanic symbols, and the strange murderers, and that was like, okay, she teased me here, and now it's all coming together. That's what I thought, and that's why I maybe this is like adding up, or you think now it's adding up. This made it really creepy for me at the first playthrough. So
because funny thing, I never got to the basement parts of those apartments before I went to the gallery. I only found those later on. I know you can get to a few. I think there's a path through the butcher's shop, if I remember correctly.
Yep,
but
that's the first one.
Yeah,
but that's interesting.
Too crowded outside the butcher's to go there. So for me, it was that was the first time.
Where did you? I want to know. Where did you get like the creepy laugh from? Do you know, like the little?
I got it.
The little
It's
kids laughed.
Yeah, it's. I think it was called Elf Laugh, and I got it from one of two websites, either Sound Bible or freesound.org. It wasn't from another fan mission.
Okay. Because I think like that's all. I think that like when you're walking up to the dewdrop, like I think that's all you hear, right? Correct.
Yeah, her giggling. Right.
Yeah. And then it teleports you, and then it, like I said earlier, puts you in that little area with the zombie.
Yeah.
I assume to just like punish you. Like, well, is there a reason behind that, or is it just thinks it's like funny, like it's for its own amusement?
I think it was for my amusement. I think I trolled the player like 5 or more times.
A couple times.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. A little bit.
I think after the teleportation, we don't really see Dewdrop anymore. So pretty much she was just sort of the atmosphere builder, but for quite some time before we enter the tour.
Well, I think it's just because it's like a little like it's a little side thing, right? Because you go upstairs, right, and there's on one side there's the painting that's like haunted apparently, and then you get the rose for it later, and you could do that whole side little like quest sort of, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think on the other side it's like, oh, the doll that's been like a pagan. I forget the description, but it's like the pagan doll that's been like said to be haunted, because it's supposed to be like a museum. So like trying to like excite the viewers by like, oh, it's haunted, but don't get close.
Right. Yeah, and it was also back in the Thief 2 OMs, we found the Dewdrop doll originally in that pagan village. So I just kind of made up a story that maybe somebody had gotten a hold of it, and it was the spirit of that murdered child. So.
Now, wasn't there another Dewdrop in the mission in the inn, or is that like a replica? That's like a different one. I think there's a doll on the bed on one of the beds.
Yes, I think
that's
so
like
too.
the end. Yeah, so Dewdrop disappears after that last teleportation, and even her writing on the walls, everything that she put there disappears, but she's there to greet you at the very end for just a little extra fun way to end.
Wait, was she at the end? Where was she at the end?
Yeah, she's sitting on the table to the right.
Oh my god! I think as soon as I just walked in the room, like I like took my hand off the mouse, and I was like, I'm done.
Just imagine, like you are Garrett, and you don't see the Dewdrop, and you go to sleep, and then. But yeah, that was a really creepy.
Well, you know me, I'm always strafe running, so I was probably going in facing away.
Yeah, you played the mission in 2 minutes, right?
I wish.
It'd be something to see a speed run of this one. That'd be tough.
What I really liked about the first area in the gallery is the use of those futuristic servant stuff, and
Yeah.
even the Burrick. That was really nice, like a real nice introduction. They went dangerous. Of course, you're creeping like, "Nyeh, I don't trust this," but that was I always like it when you do that. I think the peak, of course, was like the contest now. That yeah, but it gave me the same feeling, like yeah, you can imagine how people would have imagined things like that, maybe in that time, in
Right.
that yeah, that scenario. This was a really cool thing, and yeah, is there anything else in the starting area at the gallery you guys want to mention?
I don't know. I just found it very amusing how like you said, the morbid curiosity came from the theme of the gallery, and it's like a museum, a gallery, which is already designed to make people see possessed things, scary things, and on top of that, you have, of course, for the first section, the dewdrop that's running around, and you see dead guards there, and you just don't know. Like it would be suspicious without the whole possession thing to walk around there. But now with dewdrop, it was just I don't trust anything in here. Like even when it's dark, I don't know. So it was a relief in a way to exit the area and go to the tour, which then
And
turned out not to be that safe as well.
Thank you for putting the mechs behind glass too, because I hate any like mechanist enemy. I don't really like sneaking around them.
Must have loved Builder's Paradise.
Yeah.
The home security of the
too many
future.
enemies if they were out and they could see you, I thought.
Yeah.
I think that is a really good way of getting the player tensions. Like, first of all, you have a dewdrop, the most peaceful thing you can imagine, and suddenly it's like it's not an enemy that harms you, but it maybe can harm you in some other way. You don't know, and suddenly you're really light stepping, and your whole self-esteem is like, it's gone. And
Right,
that's a
I
really
know.
good way, like putting things you already know in a different perspective. It's like the other way around with the good deeds. Like now
Yeah.
it's something you like or that's not creepy.
I don't know. I think dolls are kind of creepy.
Yes, like clowns, but the dewdrop normally isn't anything dangerous in a thief mission, and now it is, like, or it can be. You don't know. It's like, yeah, it's a great way you put it there. Was the dewdrop idea one of the main ideas you already had, or did it just came through the design process?
It came through the design process, and I remember somebody even asking me that on the thread. And kind of probably was subconsciously at first inspired by the Conjuring movie with the Annabelle doll, and that so-called true story, of the actual doll that apparently was possessed, where I got that from. And I just thought I would make it more fun to move through the gallery with this, the player, when they're first going through, doesn't know if that's harmful or not. It's really a mood builder and just to create more suspense, as they progress.
Yeah. It works. What I didn't like is I was followed by the I think it's the ghost of the painting, this red bull.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it almost I couldn't almost go on with the mission because I made a quick save right really a second before it killed me from the back.
Oh no.
So and I usually don't make save states in between. So I was like, it was right before I was entering the gallery. I was taking a break, I was saving, and got killed. I was low on energy because of fall damage, and yeah, and I was like, oh no, and then I really had to do the clitremis, like, okay, reload and just like quickly running around,
Yeah.
and then what I really had to do is, because it was following me all the way over the place, and then I had to go back into the sewers, jump into the water where it couldn't get me, and wait until it calmed down and went back to its own place.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, it was some action, and then actually in that playthrough, I was really happy to be in the gallery when the door closed behind me, because then I was, oh, it's not following me anymore. Hey, I'm here now.
What's funny is that AI, it's not completely indestructible. There actually is a way to kill it, but because it's part of the story later on that you can actually make her go away by the rose.
Yeah, I
sequence.
know, but
Wait,
at
there
that
was supposed to be an
point-
AI there? Like a ghost? Like
No,
a red
no,
ball?
yeah, the red that is around. I know. In my first playthrough, it didn't happen. It stayed.
It didn't
there.
happen to me, yeah.
But
In the main
I was
gallery, like before the
surprised.
tour? Yeah.
I was surprised also, because I was just saving, feeling safe, and then suddenly this red magic, red bloody whatever it is going around and following you in a really tough speed. And
It's yeah, but it's completely deaf. That's the thing, is that's the one weakness it has. It has pretty decent eyesight, but completely deaf. So
yeah, but it didn't tell me that. No, it didn't say,
well.
"Hey, I can hear you." No, I didn't know.
I thought
blind.
about making it easier to defeat, but then there's the rest of the story later on, for players who are really curious and want to, are completionists per se, who want to finish everything. So there is a way to do it, but you'd have to practically go through your inventory. I believe it took I think it was Nikki, who lobbed 4 flash bombs at it, which destroyed it. But otherwise, I don't think it's killable.
Yeah, flash bombs, best friends.
Huh.
Yeah, but that's usually the way to go. Like, oh, there's something I can't defeat. Like, let's try that. Yeah. Yeah. For me, we can go on to the gallery, to the tour.
The tour, yeah.
I think that this is, for me, it's the highlight. This is something I really always will remember for 1 year or so. Like my memory is, but as I said, this is like a tour for a thief fan, like all the different surroundings you can have, like pagan, Hemorrhoids, city, old city quarters, whatever, and like tunnels. There's everything in it, and it's presented in a really cool way. Keepers, of course. That was actually, I think, the most interactive part.
Yeah, because there's a little maze, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You can collect those books, right?
And then you find the little the painting that teleports you into the killer's apartment room or something. If I remember correctly.
The artist, the librarian.
The artist, yeah. And that's where you can get the rose, and then you give it to the painting all the way back in the gallery, and that unlocks its little side quest area. Yeah.
And that was the part, the whole gallery thing is like that. My notes I wrote down wait, what was it? Where I said it's, it starts out really nice. It's a city mission and stuff, but then of course PUKEY wants to anger Alex and makes a horror theme out of it. And I think it's the same with Scarlet Cascabel. It starts with a peaceful village, and then you go to the hotel, and then it gets creepy. Yeah, that is your thing, right?
I love creepy. Yeah, I'm as Nex asked me, I'm a huge fan of horror, but I'm not a big fan of undead missions. I don't get scared. I like to build atmosphere. That's a hard thing to do,
Yes.
But that's I like a little creepy and a little.
But you're good with that, because you do it in the way you put something that is familiar, but then it's different. and suddenly like the skeletons. I like the skeletons behind the glasses, because I love that when they are facing you like with their strange head movements, but they can't reach you, and then you feel like stubborn, like you can't reach me, and then the next and in the next corner you're like, hello, is there a dewdrop maybe?
Right.
It's a great turnaround you did there. Yeah, but let's explain the gallery. Next, can you please tell what is the gallery about? The tour in the gallery.
So the tour in the gallery is a 6-section sort of educational exhibition, I suppose, where we go through. Let me see if I can remember. But we have a death section first,
Yes.
and then we go into the lost city. Actually, I'll go in a little bit more detail. We have the death section where we can see all the haunts and the skeletons and everything of the underworld. And I love how, of course, because of we forgot that to mention that the reason why we are in the gallery, because in the abbey we went to the abbey to find the builder's rattle. That was our main objective. We found out that it was sold to the curator of the museum, and even before going to the gallery, we learned that the rattle itself it's cursed. It's actually a pagan curse on it, and if it was not obvious before, because the dewdrop itself was possessed, but I have an inkling that it was the rattle, the curse of the rattle, that increased the possession or made it worse. Am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah, you are. Like it's this, and I wish I would have fleshed this out a little bit more. But yeah, it was them acquiring that cursed object that really caused all the failures to happen.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With the transportation device, there was a special word, but
Inception.
I don't. Transception. Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah.
Where the power failures started happening. That caused the security devices throughout the tour, because just as I mentioned, the death section shows you haunts and skeletons, and of course those are real things behind security devices. But with the rattle causing the failures, these things broke out. And as soon as we get into the death section, okay, sorry, I'm going too fast there. So we have, I'll just describe the tour first. So we have this 6-section which goes through the death themed, and then we have Lost City, we have the Keepers, there's Old Quarter, Pagans, and then at the end the Maw of Chaos, which is kind of the final part. But we kind of, this is supposed to be a tour where people can read about all the things that fall into that certain theme. And I really liked how you see the readables on the floor and the note from the guards, where it all suddenly started to happen. The power failure went off, the security devices, and kind of people were on the tour when that started happening, because you have readables saying something's going wrong, let's run away, and then another readable that says, yeah, let's run away, but let's steal things first. And then you have guards putting in their notes that they're gonna kind of warn people as they go off, and then you have this whole tour filled with monsters suddenly breaking loose, and that's where Garrett is put in.
It has a bit of a System Shock 2 vibe, or System Shock 1, I think. Like you can relive what happened there, and that is something that is really done really great. And it's hard to do, because you often find notes about what happened, but here you really get like the tension of the whole situation, how dangerous it was, and still some people are like greedy, and yeah, you can a bit of you get a point of view of what happened there and how it must have been. I think that was a good way doing with the readables, because we talked about that in other episodes. Like sometimes the readables can't really live up to that, but here I think it made sense, or it didn't feel wrong.
Oh yeah.
Good.
And I think, where was the element? Was the elemental not? Was it the pagan part, or was it an extra section?
Lost City. That was the.
That was Lost City. Okay.
And I loved in that section that even though you're dodging skeletons and haunts and elemental orbs and craymen, pretty much everything you can encounter in Thief universe, you still have the quiz at the end. And of course, if you're a completionist, you want to get those quizzes right, and just to get them right, you need to read the things in the tour, right? So you got the skeletons on your back, but you're reading about Maya, the goddess of you know what I mean?
I think that's an important point, like to point out that every section starts with a goddess to you about what's going that's going to come. I am Minerva, the goddess of, what was it?
Wisdom.
Yeah, and you know, that is one question, like PUKEY, that must have been really hard to do for every section, like to come up with I think it's real existing goddess in our real world, like Minerva and stuff, and to put them on that specific theme, and then to come up with all of this. How much work? Yeah, was it hard to do that?
A lot of work, but hard. No, this is another thing that happens when I'm building, is I love writing readables. It's one of my favorite things, especially I love funny ones if I can make them funny. But no, I had a ball. I think that's one of my very favorite things to do. And this is a small admission from me. There was a little trolling going on there. I kind of made it so that you had to read the readables to get the quizzes right in some areas.
So you forced us to read.
I did. If you wanted all those little statuettes, you had to do your homework a little bit. But I know it was a great deal of work, but it wasn't hard.
That is a women thing.
A mom thing.
You know how to manipulate. And it worked. We fell for it. Yeah, great job. And especially the reward you get at the end.
No, it's so worth it, isn't it?
No, the journey was the reward, actually, and that is not a joke. But yeah, I think the whole theme, like that, this is a journey. This is really like, I imagine that others, like maybe someone else, would have come up with that idea, and it would have been only that. But you put a whole mission with a city around it and a story and little stories that link up to it and blah blah blah. Yeah, I think that is the thing I really appreciate about the whole thing. Yeah, but let us talk about the part where you, after every section of the tour, that is something I really like, the whole all the signs. They tell you, like, hey, here you can leave, but hey, please go to the left, and then you go to the machine where you have to answer 3 questions with 3 possibilities, and you have to answer everything right. Of course, like a 9x9 is easy to cheat on. I did it in 2 sections actually, but yeah, like if you have like 1 or 2 answers right, them, then it's like, okay, I can push them and I can switch to the others until I get the right answer, and then you get a little statuette, and
it's like a key. Yeah,
and you need all 6 of them.
Yeah.
And then at the end you get a reward, but please, let's not spoil that, because this is, like, I think the most amazing achievement you could ever get.
Anyone who hasn't played, we shouldn't spoil that big prize for them, shall we?
No, because actually,
Right.
because this thing made me rethink the whole Thief universe.
Yeah.
Right, because it's like and it makes sense because it brings you, it's the whole Thief universe you're going through, and then you get that, and it's like, wow, mind blowing.
Then you're asking like, how did I survive all this? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a clever thing. Like, it has references to, like, I think at least 20 other original missions, and I'm overdoing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what else was there for the tour? What that really? I have to admit one thing. In the pagan section, I loved that, and the old city. I loved those. There's this stone thing. Was that ever used before?
Something.
The
What do you mean
the
by it?
moon. It looked like the Legend of Zelda.
I assume he means where you had to like clean the rattle. Right?
The four elementals.
Got you. Okay.
And they are all kept in their own cages, and then there's the stone or earth, whatever, and there's that moon thing, that little stone that with face.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the in the Lost City section, the Earth Elemental, I think.
Yeah, the earth. Yeah.
Okay, I thought we were talking about the pagan section.
Was that ever used before? I can't recall that.
I think it must have been. I don't have any specific.
Oh, you collected it. Okay.
It was. You guys remember Dead X, right? And when Dead X came out, it had this just gold mine of AI that I'd never seen before, that a lot of them are fan made. And that actually inspired me to build the gallery. It was the first idea. I was like, how can I display all these amazing fan built AI, and make it make sense? And that was really from Dead X. So I pulled a lot of those from the Dead X pack.
Yeah. So it's amazing. But anything else, guys, you want to add to the tour?
Oh yeah. Let's talk a little bit. The first time playing through, I missed the painter thing.
Oh, okay.
Just because you had to click on the readable first and then on the image, and I forgot to click on the image. And I don't know what led me back, but I actually went back and went through the maze again just to get to that section. And I'll tell you, the scare in that room. I mean, it's not like I've not been impressed by 1,000 different things in this mission already, but the scare, the little story behind it, that was just amazing, and it gripped me. But I have a little question there. The painter that's imprisoned there says that this madman imprisoned him, and now he has to paint for him. Was it Grivaldi that imprisoned this guy?
Yeah. See, this is some of the bits of story I would have fleshed out more, but in the gallery entrance or the main area, there's the Great Grimaldi story, and it talks about how it used to be his manor and how he had these old oubliettes where he imprisoned people. And so that old oubliette still remained with the spirit walled behind these bookshelves, It's to tell the story of he was one of the prisoners of this Grimaldi guy who was a crazy narcissist or whatever. And he had the guy make paintings for him that he could take the credit for, essentially. And he was imprisoned there and lost without his love. And that's the.
I also love how you can see the eyes from that painting, from the keeper's grill.
I love that you caught that. I think a lot of people might have missed that. Yeah.
That I mean, this was just at that point I was prepared for the scares, but it was just like, wow. You know how when you have like an older brother, and every time he gets you, you think you've caught up now. You know all the tricks, and then bam, there's another one, and the eye staring from a little hole there, and you can actually see that's actually from the prison cell there.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, lovely. I also love the effect of falling books throughout the.
Throughout the maze,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
That actually got me scared a little bit too. I wasn't.
Oh yeah.
So glad to hear that. That was I know that was kind of cheap, because it's kind of jump scary. But, I was trying to build suspense throughout that part, and glad it had an effect.
Oh yeah, it did. And there's a couple of more things that I'd like to talk about the tour. One of the things was in
Sorry to interrupt, but the book thing, for me, it happened the first 2 times, but the third book, then it didn't happen, and that was way more scarier, I think, because I expected it and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
That was like, wait, now I was waiting for it and it didn't happen. Now I'm sure there's something really creepy coming now. So it had, the other way around again.
PUKEY just messes with your mind, because the fourth one then again hits you.
Yeah, really.
That's
Right.
Suspense is not knowing when it's going to fall. As Alfred Hitchcock said, you as the viewer know the bomb is under the table. You're just waiting for the moment that it explodes, essentially. So
yeah, or not.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Or not.
Books went
Mm-hmm.
harmful. But please go on next.
So yeah, after in the second section, the last city section, at the end you see that there's a little sarcophagus, like an Egyptian styled thing, where you see the little what's it called? The thing that the mummies are wrapped in.
Yeah, it was a sarcophagus, I guess.
The actual paper that the
toilet paper stuff.
Yeah.
Toilet paper stuff, right? I don't know.
And it's on the floor leading away to the next section. And there's a mummy patrolling there. It's like this is like little details like that. I can imagine a lot of authors would put the mummy there, but that lead up to it, it's just it's very consistent with a lot of other brilliant things in this mission. I really loved it.
What I also liked is the pagan area where you have to shoot the different trees with different elemental arrows.
That puzzle was amazing.
A little cryptic, but
Yeah, but as soon as this was a quick save, quick load thing, and not to waste anything. You figure out like the theme, like shooting. Latest from Thief Deadly Shadows, there was the mission like you have to shoot a water and a moss arrow at the tree, and I think this has been a common theme since then. And you're like, wait, this is a pagan area. There are those trees, and then you try. And I got the water arrow thing right first, so I knew I'm on the right track. And then, of course, what elemental arrows I have also. And then I only had one. I think one gas arrow was needed.
Just one.
Yeah, and I only had one, and I was like, no, really.
But Alex, I have to ask you. Didn't you read the banners?
No, this time not. I know. I was like, this time I was like, why is that so strange this time? Like last time it wasn't so hard for me to figure it out. But yeah, I didn't read the banners. Yes,
the only thing I was like when I was playing it, I was like worried because I don't keep track of my inventory, so I was like, oh no, please don't tell me. Like I used up all my gas arrows or like water arrows. But thankfully, I had enough of each. But I was like, I wonder if that happened to anyone, and they like were complaining at you or something.
Actually, and one of my testers, and this was like a fine like line I was trying to walk when I created that puzzle, because I didn't want to have it was suggested that I have all the arrows in like a case, but I thought that's going to completely blow the puzzle. Like there. So what I did do, and a lot of people miss this, was really like very close to the vicinities. You can find earth arrows, water arrows, fire arrows, and 2 gas arrows. So they are hidden like near the area there.
So there's more than 2 gas arrows.
I know there's some in the Lost City area, if that's where you're talking about.
Actually, there's one in the Lost City area, and there's 2 more. There's 2 in the city itself, and then there's one in the Lost City, and then there's when you go into the Maw of Chaos exhibit, right at the beginning where there's that bridge, if you look into the ceiling, you see a couple of little gas arrow effects up there, and those are both gas arrows also. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a couple. There are plenty of.
But this is a better way, like
right,
than just putting them into a box. Like here, you. Oh wait, that's too easy.
Yeah, like if you were to present like a box with all the arrows, like everyone would be like, all right, I got to do something with it, you know, and then it would just kind of like take away like the you know.
That's what happened to me with the lieutenant. You know, where I thought, oh yeah, she put it here for me to knock him out, you know, with the gas arrow. But yeah, that was I like the puzzle. The whole section is great. Like you have, you know, even if there's like things, there's those areas you are common with, but they still give you some interesting view on it, and or let you relive so many moments just in a simple way. And that is what this gallery is about. This is really, really great. You know, you have to imagine like normal citizens in that city, they walk through that and they haven't seen most of that. But Garrett is there and he's like, yeah, I've been here many times. So tell me something new. And you did. You know, that was really great. So, yeah, let's go on, guys.
I just like I guess like I'm always like trying to think of like gameplay, I guess, and like the one thing that kind of irked me is it's just kind of linear, the whole gallery, and it's just like
very
linear,
But
which like is fine. It's a tour. It's meant to be like an experience, so like I kind of like didn't care that much, but like I wish it was a little more like options on like where to go. I don't know. I always like having an option like A, B, or C.
Yeah, but that's what she did in the whole mission.
Right.
And this is like, you know,
no, yeah, it's fine.
This is what a tour is about, and I think the premise of the whole thing is like, yeah, I didn't expect anything else. You know, I think it makes totally sense, and this.
Yeah.
I got away with it, but actually, Psycho, I plan to do that too. I really, I pushed it so far, you know, even though I did build most of it out, I didn't build enough of it out. And like the things that got sacrificed in the end were a couple of things. Was I did want to do that very thing. It's just like you. I like, even if they connect to the same point, having two options, I love that, you know, as a player. And then the other thing was I wanted to have more rooftop exploration, but I just didn't have any more.
Right.
Room,
that was another thing. Like I felt like there wasn't much use of the rope arrows other than to get over like the gate really at the start. Unless I missed some.
Oh, there was a couple places, and I actually built the city out to be very kind of vertical. I was planning to implement all of that stuff, and I get so carried away sometimes when I'm building that I just can't afford it at the end. But yeah, the gallery was one of the places I actually, just what you said exactly was what I was planning. And that had to be cut, unfortunately.
I think it still came out fine. Like as for what it is, it's supposed to be like just like a little ride, you know, and for that it's like cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go here with Psychosis. In the latter gameplays, I always tried to ghost it before, but now I found that, you know, if I'm reloading too much, it just kind of breaks my immersion. So I had a problem, let's say, in the Hammerite section where you have the haunt and the arrow guy. I remember when I was trying to ghost this, it would take me like, I would say about half an hour just to get past those two guys and get the rattle and the things around it without them noticing, because I wanted to be good. Yeah, it's a very tough area. Like in the replays now, I'll always use I'll have to thank Alex here, because he kind of softened me up on that whole not doing everything, you know, just because it's your rule. And I started using holy waters there to get rid of those haunt and the archer, because it's just a nicer way. I found that in this case you had to use 3 water arrows to knock him out. But either way, yeah, I did it. I would love to see some sort of ventilation system, kind of letting
Yes.
you pass certain sections. But I can totally get that, some sacrifices have to be made. I'm sure a lot of work went into the whole thing, and at some point, did you actually come to the limits of cell counts and stuff like that?
Like within 250. Yeah, absolutely did. and here's the thing, because with Cascabel, we kept finding ways to just get the cells down and down and down and down. I learned so much before, in this ladder build, but back then, all I really knew how to do was like, I went back through the city. I'm like, okay, I've got these 20-sided cylinder arches. I'm going to make them 12, So I was trying to cut that kind of stuff out, like little details of that kind. I didn't know a lot of the other tricks you could use. If I actually had the knowledge that I have now, I probably would have been able to pull like another 5,000 cells out of that and would have been able to implement some of that.
Cylinders really eat them up.
I love cylinders though.
They're great. Yeah. I mean, you can make them with wedges, That's I think that's what Skaki taught me. Yeah.
I still haven't done a cylinder wedge. As part of it too is then you can run into the other limit, which is just
the total number,
which I actually happened last time. I ran into every single limit that you can pretty much on a mission. But you can make a really nice arch with cylinders. Yeah.
You ran into the object limit too?
Did.
I assume, yeah.
I never thought that could be possible, but I sunk so many solids, just for aesthetic purposes. I had no idea that it was going to build or add up so quickly.
What we know from the Pure episode, it's like 3 million now, no?
Well, I think about that actually, because when Pure was building, that was with Old Dark. Look what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is with New Dark, and we're so spoiled, and yet, we're still wanting to push those limits and stuff. But
but still, let's be serious. The mission, if you look at your mission and Calendar's Legacy, as much as I like it, Calendar's Legacy is barren. It's like a desert compared to it.
It's great.
It's like the giant whose shoulders we stand on to get where we are today. A lot of the old ones at the time, it was like, I remember playing it back in the day and thinking,
years.
oh my God, this is so beautiful, and really being impressed. Yeah.
As I said, the second mission really stands out, and I think, but the whole color theme makes a. And as Psychosis pointed out, that sometimes textures feel off, but if you nail that, I think this adds so much to something, and it overcomes maybe a lack of a 3D detail, and you did both, so congratulations on that.
It's been so many years since I've played Calendra that I really don't have any visual anymore of what it looked like.
I think the second mission is what everyone's talking about, because I think the first and the second one, they seem a bit off, in my opinion. But the second one has like a brownish red, black feeling.
There was just so much going on. Midnight and Merkbell, that's the one you're referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's. But I think it adds a lot. He didn't have that poly count back then, but he manages to do it with other things, and you did both. You had both possibilities, and you've done that. And I think a mission always has to put into a timeline perspective. Like Rowena, her missions, they still stand out. They still look pretty amazing, but then you consider they've been like from 2004 or something, and it's like, what? There have been many missions like that. But I think that is one thing you can really be proud of. Like, you have that your first mission released, and it got received so well.
I know. I was really just overwhelmed by a lot of that. No idea what to really expect. But it was really great to be able to commune with the people on the forums and hear people's feedback on that, and so many people liked it. It was awesome. Yeah.
On the other hand, of course, you could say like, of course, like the later you join, the more inspiration and the more things have been figured out. So maybe it gets easier at that point. But I think then people raise the bar on other things. Like, okay, now it's easier. You can have more detail now, more of those. But they expect that to happen from that point, since New Dark and stuff. But I think it's still it's still hard to do that, and that's why there are still missions coming out, and not every mission is received so well.
I mean, I would go even further. Like you said, received so well, and I think a lot of missions get received so well, but this is like mission one, the first mission you release, and I am really picky about the missions that I play. And for me, you're on the level of Pura, on the level of DRK, like top missions there, and then you have a second mission there where you immediately win a contest. It's I'd say that like a lot of people make mission and another mission and they get a lot of practice, and I feel like some of them like they can practice a lot, but they're not going to get to this level, as sad as it sounds. And I think
all thinking of the same person, huh?
There are a lot of people that try, but because one of my questions was, but you cleared that up right at the beginning when you introduced yourself. But my question was, are you an architect or a designer? Because as a result, the result is such that it makes me feel like there is like you can practice, but there's recognizable talent there.
Yeah, really humbled by what you said, actually. I don't really know how to answer that exactly, but I found this little snippet of advice in a really old thread somewhere buried in the forums in the old days, and I don't know where, but I think one of the best things you can do as an author when it comes to just making your world is to look at real life as much as possible. Look at stuff that's actually built in the real world, old medieval architecture, whatever inspires you. Andromeda's never going to look ever like things do. It's so frustrating sometimes in the real world, but you can pull that vibration, out from really focusing and studying architecture that actually exists. You can do that with other fan missions too, but I think it's better to go to the actual source, to get some original ideas. So I don't know how to better answer that. As between being an architect and a designer. I love all of it, though.
Well,
I would say you're both.
It was just meant as a compliment because the mission is designed well, and like you said, I mean, in a visual style, that's what I meant by designer. It's very appealing to look at. But then in another way, I feel like, and we talked about this a couple of times, is that authors, even DRK, like DRK makes that, I'll say, mistake in a couple of his missions, and it's the linearity. I can understand the linearity in the tour that we discussed. Like it's meant to be that way, even though like you say yourself, you wanted to make like two ways to go through that section. I like it shows in where you're trying to, when you begin the mission and you have to go from the canals to the upper part, you have choices, right? You can go through the Vance shipping, or you can go through the police station. And a lot of times,
the ceiling,
you can do the same
more
thing.
sometimes.
But when we talked about the smugglers place, that's one reason why I didn't like that place, because I felt one place where maybe the Abbey was similar, but it was a little bit more forgiving. Whereas the smugglers then, yes, there are 2 entrances, but they're kind of at the beginning, and then the end is like you have to pass, I think, 3 to 4 guards.
You have to
And
go
you
through
cannot-
that all metal like floor. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah,
That's a tough spot.
yeah, and the gate makes a really bad noise moving around.
I'm still
that
wondering
drives
why
me
this
crazy.
area sticks to my head so much, because it is that simple and basic. But I think maybe it's because of that, because compared to the rest of the mission, maybe this is a very familiar situation you're really used to and you have seen so many times. And maybe that's why it stands out for me in a good way. Maybe that's why I liked it, because it was like, yeah, the whole mission is like has many different approaches and things. But yeah, this one was really standard, but I liked it because it's familiar, and at least it didn't kill me. Maybe it's just a theory, but I think there.
It's probably due to the fact that you kind of cleared the way, that you blackjacked. If you want to go through that place, Kochimas does it in his video. But yeah, if you don't want to knock out anybody and go through that whole section without any first alerts, it does require you to be on point. You have to kind of, because right at the end, you have to even unlock the door where the guard comes right to the final office. And if I remember correctly, the lockpick takes so long that you actually have to sort of, because the guard, when he comes in, he kind of makes a circle around that room, and you have to do half the pick lock, and then hide again, and then follow him through that room again behind his back, and then lockpick again just to get into the room.
But that's again a thing, as I said before, like Thief gives you so many possibilities to play it the way you want. So of course, different areas have a different appealing to the different play styles. That's
That's the beauty.
That's true, but
yeah,
that is true. But once you don't have like choices, right? When it gets too linear, like there's the choices reduced, and there's maybe 2-3 ways to get around, where maybe it could be like 6, 7, 10, right?
Yeah.
So I'll still be an advocate for the non-linearity.
But it wasn't a major part of the mission. So yeah, I liked it. You maybe didn't, but basically, the most important parts of the mission were really outstanding and got stuck to our minds.
That's right.
Yeah, but I totally get your point. Like from your point of view, from your play style, of course, from my original play style, of course, it was cool. And
there's another funny thing there. I actually tried. You talked earlier, PUKEY, that you wanted to make the mission more of a rooftop styled mission, and there are a lot of areas around the city where you can actually get to the roofs without even doing some glitchy stuff or that. You can just climb on top of it, and I would actually traverse the city through the rooftops, and you can access so many areas through the rooftops, and it's just so fun. Except for the smugglers, then you actually put like an invisible barrier, because there's a slow fall potion like on top of some rafters there.
Yeah,
and I think you
right?
Yeah, I think you wanted to prevent players from jumping to the roofs from there, right?
I
But
did.
to me, it was like you prevented me from dropping down, and
It's funny you'd bring that up, because I've never actually been a person who tries to go out of bounds too much, but I've learned since then that a lot of people, I mean, you do what you can as an author to discourage people. This is not the path. You're not really supposed to go this way. But a lot of people have so much fun finding ways to get out of bounds. That's part of the fun for people.
Next, Psychosis.
Yeah. It isn't really for me, because I hate stacking crates and it's just tedious. But a lot of people love that, and at the time, I was working so hard to try to make these invisible barriers. You're not supposed to go here. You're not supposed to go there. And of course, people still find a way, you know, that I didn't understand that at the time. Are you one of those people that likes to do that, to go out of bounds and kind of find the edges?
Are you?
Weren't you, PUKEY? I think you were on my stream when I was doing Morbid. No, sorry, the other one. Yeah, the Cascabel. And I think you just joined the stream when I was on top of the trees, way above this.
Right.
Oh yeah, I remember those tree
right.
sections that were very essential for the game.
You said something about it too. I can't remember what I commented, but I popped in your stream and I commented something real quick about that. So
I think you said you really are an explorer, huh?
Yeah.
Can we please honor the sound design? Because this is, for me personally, one of the most important things of the mission. I don't know how you did it, and I don't know how much you reused, how many things, how often they have appeared in missions before, but so many moments just not only lived from the design of the mission, but the sound was so on par. And I don't know if there's ever been a mission that has been so amazing. It felt so great. There has been this atmosphere with the drunken or partying people in the streets, and then you have those areas that we didn't talk about so much, like where those dead people are in the basements and stuff. And then there's those creepy sound, and the whole thing, the whole sound design. Was there? How did you do that?
Oh God, I mean, sound is such a huge part of Thief, and mood, you know. I mean, every time I would go into another fan mission, I fight for a long time. If there was an ambient that I really liked, you know, I would kind of grab it. And I accumulated so many, and I would go into whatever area, you know, in the map that I was building, or, you know, when it came to that, I did sound like at the very end, trying to find the right mood that I felt represented this area. That's going through probably of ambience, trying to find the right mood, mostly pulled from other people's fan missions. And again, you know, lost track of who I should credit that to. But yeah, I mean, I love music. I love sound. I think it's a huge part of Thief. And I was just really passionate about trying to get the right feel. Although I will say, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I did some really cheap stuff. Like, I didn't understand really how to implement it as far as transitions went. So there's these really obnoxious places on the map. They actually hurt my brain. Like, when I was in there yesterday, I was like, wow, that's really overwhelming. Where you know, how you have two different ambience and you want to have sort of a transition. That's not the easiest thing to do, especially when you haven't asked anybody for help. So I threw in these really loud, obnoxious, sort of like Thief sounds. If you go back and
you mean the turbines?
There's a few. I remember
yeah,
that.
right. And I really wish I would have been more subtle and worked harder on those transitions. I don't like those.
I forbid you that. Because I totally know what you mean. But actually, to me, now you tell me this, but until this point, I thought that you put them together in a genius way, because I loved it. I love the transitions because they have been pretty rough, but they, for my opinion, they wanted to tell you something. Like, okay, this is that area and this is that area. You know, there have been so many fan missions where you go from one room to another and the whole sound experience changes. Then it's like, okay, I go into that. Here I can hear the guard. Here I can hear that sound. Then I move like 10 centimeters or that's 17 cups. And then I move 10 centimeters into the other room and I can't hear nothing of the other room anymore. And I really felt it. And in so many ways, I'm a sound man, I'm a musician and stuff. And I really appreciate the whole sound design in every way. So if you did it by accident, please never think of it again. Just do it. But that is sometimes, like as I said, as I'm a musician, and sometimes the things that you just do, or maybe you can do better, sometimes they appear to others in a more efficient way than the thing you put so many thoughts into. I love the sound design. And I will put in some examples into this episode. I love it. That is my favorite part of the mission.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Especially the turbines and the creepy sounds, like this.
I love throwing those things in, though, like little surprising sounds here and there that are just within a certain radius, just to give it a little flavor, mix it up a little bit. Yeah, that's fun to do.
Yeah, but what I said before, like with the key, like you hear that you are at the door and you hear that sound and you can open it, and then you get the key and it plays that sound in the background, or that little singing voice, and everything is, or what Nex mentioned, like when you enter the crypt and then you go down and then there's like stumpy sound. It's so outstanding. And
Now it's no surprise how come you noticed that the song from the psychic lady with the keys are. I'd forgotten that you had a music background. No wonder you picked up on those things. Oh.
Yeah. But I loved it. I love it. So now I think it's time for the final questions. And yeah, please go on, guys.
Next, this is
Yep, sure.
your time to shine.
We're already far into the third. Well, we're coming to the third hour, so I won't go through them all. I'll just pick a few.
But there have been technical issues, so it will count down a bit.
That is true. Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention before was that I actually wanted to ask you the way that the whole gallery turning into a disaster, even though you have Baron's Guard, which is obviously commanded by the Baron. That's how Captain got his sword. So obviously they're doing a good job. They are on high alert because of the things that are happening. They are on top of those. But for some reason, the gallery still turns into a disaster. You have dead guards that have been sent in. You've got dead personnel. You have dead guests, right? And then still the party outside is going on, even though we have this catastrophe going in the city. And through the readables and things like that, you can see that this is all like a combination of the festivities and the curses, and there's also this readable about let's hush this because we don't want to make an outcry. And when you take it all together, it kind of makes sense. Like usually when you'll find out on the news that some disaster happened, and they'll say like, it doesn't happen just because of the one thing. It happens because of this and because this, and it kind of felt, even though we're in a magical world and we're talking about curses and everything, it felt like this part of the story was well thought through. And I'm wondering, was that a coincidence or am I right here?
Right, actually. For two reasons. One, I love this sort of silly idea that there's this disaster going on. Meanwhile, all these oblivious people are just out there getting drunk because, God forbid they have to shut down their grog fest and lose their, whatever income they might get from this as a community. And the other thing was really kind of another cheat, which is that I wanted a city that was full of life and fun and flavor. And I didn't want to have to clear the streets and have the old curfew thing. That's a pretty common trope. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just not what I wanted. So I had to explain that, how come all these people are still out partying when there's such a serious danger present. So, and it's really, I think, only explained in one place, if I recall correctly, which is in the captain's office. Which, talks about this is, why, we'll just kind of keep it hush hush, so that people can go on with their partying and we can still make our money or whatever as a community.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It was intentional.
That was nice. I just fell together because sometimes you'll come across some story points that just like, how in a movie sometimes something doesn't make sense and it kind of breaks the whole thing for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Like this was the chance here, and it didn't happen. You nailed it on this point. Thank God.
Slipped through that one. Good.
Actually, this resembles a very topic that is present for all of us. Like, in the Corona times, there are many people that don't take it serious. They're still partying outside, even if there's a danger around. So, good hindsight. Yeah. Clever.
Well, as long as the dewdrop doesn't make an appearance, I'm okay.
So let's admit it, PUKEY. You wanted to show the whole world, how it is, and that you put all of this into this mission. I get it. I understood it. The piece of art.
I'm just really, really passionate about this game and what these authors have done over the years has really meant a lot to me and the community. So I don't know. I didn't hold back. I don't know if I can. I think I'm going to try one of my missions in the future as a smaller mission, but they just turn into these monsters because I keep on wanting to put more and more in, as I'm building them.
So far, really, it went well. So.
Yeah, until I get to the end and I have to start, sacrificing goats again, then it can get ugly. But that's the only way I know how to build right now. I'm still learning.
What we didn't mention, but I think we should leave those to the players to find out. There have been so many funny elements that Nex put into his notes, like swinging Teffer and so many. Yeah, Nex. What are they?
Sorry, you're cutting off.
I think he's asking you what are like the funny parts, like the
your final questions. What are your final questions?
Oh, yeah.
Because you always have those details things, so let's put them out.
Actually, yeah, there are a bunch of funny things, but I have a serious question there, just because I went through the readables, actually through the files, and I saw some. I might be completely correct, but are there multiple ways of getting the sword?
No. There's only the one sword, and it just jogged my memory that I had made the weapons shop. I was originally going to have 2 swords in it, and I think I was just burning out. I was so ready to be done with the mission at the time, but there at first was going to be 2 ways. I was going to be able to have you do it either at the guards station or at the armory. But currently, nope, it's only just the one way.
I see, because I noticed the readable that said you've earned the sword.
You've earned your Pilfered sword, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I played the mission 8 times, and I still haven't earned the sword, and I was a little bit disappointed in myself. Like, why am I missing here? Well,
That's
kind of
Yeah,
confusing. I guess I meant by that, if you destroy that monster, that's invisible one with the bugs around it, you kind of by doing that and by kind of protecting the town, you've kind of earned it.
This brings me to a point. What I didn't like, those texts are like when you unlock all the gates and stuff. Like they felt a bit. I don't
Me?
know.
like
Wrong.
breaking the third wall.
Yeah, I didn't like them.
Yeah, I know. People are really split about that, but I just that's kind of a thing I love to do. Little like hellos to the player from the game. It is breaking the fourth wall a little bit, but yeah, like it sometimes when other authors do that, and so I threw it in there too.
That's
That's
the
another
little
thing I saw in the readables, but never.
That's the
played
little
through.
introvert extrovert. Hey, here's the author telling you things.
What's up? Right.
Still there. So next, go on.
Let me see.
I'm just looking over your notes, and we've covered a lot.
I wish some of the the side apartments were a bit more fleshed out, like in terms of because I think a lot of them boil down to like lockpick the door, go in, and then like lockpick the safe, get the loot, and then like leave. And I was like, oh, I thought I was hoping there would be like a bit more like challenge to them. I don't know how to explain it,
I know what you mean. Actually, Tanner.
Because I think me and Marvelman were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they could have been. They were a little similar. The wall safes. I have to agree with you on that. A lot of the shops kind of looked a lot like the other shops.
Yeah, I think that's something you did a lot better if you were the one that did it in Cascabel for the first mission. Like the town was really well done there.
That's mostly Tanner that did.
Oh. Well, you can say it's you,
Yeah. Yeah, he's.
Yeah, it was all you, of course. You just put Tanner's name on the mission.
Right, yeah. The joke is, yeah, he's the ideas guy. No. It's I did probably more of the actual physical building in that one, but he would drop everything he was doing because I couldn't figure something out, and pretty much everything is 50-50 in that thing.
So, guys, sorry, we had a lot of technical issues today. Like Karen was gone, Next was gone. Sorry for the cutted feeling you will feel through the episode. But on the other hand, you have a lot of time because it's Corona times, and PUKEY, thank you for going through this with us.
You're so welcome. It's been really fun.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a really long time. You stayed with us, and yeah, we're really grateful for that. That it was really interesting to look into all the details with you, and yeah, thank you. And another time it will be Scarlet Cascabel. Is that right? Punky Broomster.
Broomster's a new one. I like that.
Punky Broomster. What is a broomster? Is it a what is it? I know the word, but I don't know what it is at the
Well, do you want to hear? I'll give you a really reader's quick condensed version, Reader's Digest version of how I got that name.
No, what is a broomster?
A broomster? Oh, I think it's some kind of medieval guy who pushes a mop around. That's my opinion.
Punky Broomster. You've really chosen a name where you can't make any fun of it.
Well, I didn't really pick a serious name, so that's why I'm okay with it.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So as I said, thank you. Is there anything maybe you want to add? Is there some community, some website where you are present, or what is yours you want to mention? Or
Just
any
general.
personalities from the community.
I really don't have my own website or anything. I just lurk around the forums and on Discord and talk to all you guys and about the current contest, which has produced some pretty awesome stuff so far. I still haven't finished everything yet, though, so I'm gonna dive into the rest of it.
You've played the most important ones, I guess. So, yeah.
I'm not saying a word. No, which ones I have not played yet, but
we all know who the top 3s are. So,
yeah, I think that's probably pretty clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Good thing for Randy Teffer that you didn't take part in this one. Yeah. It was amazing. The feast was amazing. Yeah. As I said, thank you. Next Psychosis, I thank you as well. And see you next time, Teffers.
Bye.
Bye.
Dies Lied, es soll dich nun begleiten, aus ew'gen und vergessenen Zeiten, hast du mich wohl erwählt.